Broadcasting from the most confused, dumbed down, manipulated, and brainwashed nation on the face of the planet, bringing you news and information they hope and pray you never hear. This is the One Republic Network.
Remember this, nothing worth doing ever.
Go to YouTube and look up One Republic.
Oh, that was so much fun. Welcome, everybody, to the One Republic Network. Today is our special broadcast, and we have our very, very special guest with us today, David Weiss with the Flat Earth Podcast. Of course, we have our very own Jason Q, Mr. Flat Earth Anon himself, and our old school conspiracy researcher, Mr. Dave Von Kleist, and then, of course, the lovely and dangerous Kelly. So thank you for joining us all this evening. We have a jam-packed episode for you, and I hope that you guys are as giddy as I am that, number one, the sound is working. Number two, I got Blog Talk working, and you're actually going to be able to hear that. We have spent many hours today working on this for you, and we are very happy that at least this premiere special episode is going to have the quality that we all wanted to provide you all along. So welcome, everyone. Please introduce yourself. Say hi.
Who's first? Okay, hi, I'm Dave. I'll say hi first, okay?
I'm Dave, and I don't think YouTube's up and running, or at least it's not on my end. Am I missing something?
No, it's there.
I got it.
Okay. I'm Dave, also known as Flat Earth Dave, and we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. I listened to your show yesterday, and this is going to be a fun show.
Well, this one will hopefully be a lot more fun because at least the sound's working this time. There we are. Hello, everybody. Okay,
Hello,
so these
hello.
guys are going to kind of be running the show a little bit more than me. I'm going to be moderating all the different chat rooms, hopefully adding some things in there if I can, and trying to monitor a whole bunch of things. So how we're going to kind of run this show today is Dave has a whole bunch of information that he's going to be sharing with the group and different visuals. And I know Dave has some things he wants to discuss. We all have questions, but we really want to make sure that you, the viewer, are going to be able to get your questions answered as well. So because Blog Talk is working, we have 2 hours with Blog Talk, even though the show itself may go a little bit longer than that. So the phone number to be able to call in is scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Please make sure and just write this down and remember two things. Number one, there is a little bit of a delay from what you're going to hear through your phone and what we're actually saying. So please, when you are calling in, listen to your phone. I will be calling out the area code that I'm going to be answering the call for. As well, this is not going to be a chit-chat call-in time frame, you know, where everybody's like, hey, how you doing, this and that. This is literally going to be, please have your name and where you're calling from ready and your question so that we can get your question out there and make sure we can get through lots of questions for you, because that's the whole hope with this entire presentation, is that we can get those questions answered that were either hesitations regarding one or the other, or that absolutely give you full resolve of your faith and conviction in what that you believe in. No matter what that is, at the end of this whole entire thing, the one thing that we all know as adults is we can still agree to disagree, even if we don't end up all on the same page, right? Right. Okay. So, you guys go ahead and take the wing of it. I'm going to get some things set up and get some links sent out, and I'll be here if you need me, okay?
Okay. Well, where do we start? Let's go to Dave. Welcome to the One Republic Network. And like I said, you have the floor.
I always love talking to myself on mute because
There you
at least I'm listening.
I was like, I swear we're
Dave,
good,
I listened
man.
to your show. I guess it's from yesterday, and you guys started talking about flat Earth. It's a passionate subject, and Jason gets very passionate. So, we were all where you were one day. We were, and you and Jason. I don't know, but I'm assuming he had the same reaction that I did, which is the same as you're doing. Flat Earth is ridiculous. We all know it's a globe, and we have all of these pre-beliefs or these pre-programmed beliefs, which are all going to hopefully go away today as we go through them. I heard one of the things you mentioned was you mentioned the Great Flood. Was it like Noah's flood? Right? Did you bring up the Bible and the flood yesterday?
Who, me or Jason?
I thought it was you. I thought you brought it up.
Yeah.
My question was, think about this. Think about a giant ball in space, right? With the Earth trying to flood that versus a giant pond. Like what would make more sense to flood? Think about, so the first thing is the flat Earth is not a disc in space, right? If you Google flat Earth, you're going to end up here. This is the Flat Earth Society nonsense. Flat Earth Society is a government-controlled disinformation site. They want you to believe that flat earthers think the Earth is a disc in space. It's not a disc in space. So if it's not a disc in space, what is it? It's more like a pond or a lake, right? Think about what a pond is. A pond is where the water accumulates in the low spot in the land, and the edge of the pond is not the edge of a pancake. It's the place where the land is higher than the water, right?
Okay.
So that's the edge of a pond. Well, we're told that, if Antarctica, this little island at the bottom of the ball, melts, that the oceans will rise 200 feet. Like, if this entire thing melted, how would it raise the rest of the oceans an inch, right? Antarctica is the highest land on Earth, but Antarctica is not an island at the bottom of a spinning ball in a space vacuum. Antarctica is more of, it's the edge of the world pond. So you have the world pond, you have all of the continents that are surrounded by water, but the water is surrounded by land. That land is called Antarctica. Antarctica is likely bigger than all of the oceans and all of the continents combined. So think of the Earth as the basement of the universe. We live in the Antarctic basin, and the shoreline of Antarctica is the edge of our known world. What's out here in the outer space? I don't know. No one's allowed to go there.
Wonder why.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
go ahead, Jason.
all right, Dave. See, the CIA pulled this once before, right? They pulled this with the Scientology when they tried to the whole infiltration over invasion. There's a reason why Operation High Jump, why they sent two different people. They sent Admiral Byrd, right? They sent him out one way, and then they sent Admiral Richard Cruzen, and he was in the task force.
Okay.
They sent him another way. He was with the UN. Now, they were doing all the mapping projects. Now, the mapping project, that was Operation Windmill. Now, when they did the Operation Windmill, if you notice that UN flag, it's a flat Earth map. What it is it's a plan view. A plan view is when you're looking down at a three-dimensional object. When they say trust the plan, they even say in one of the drops, it says about a circle. Think circle. Expand your thinking, right? Expand your thinking. You're building circles out. And then you start with the line. It says one line, one circle, one connects to the next. And you just build it all out.
Okay,
You essentially drew the flat Earth map.
Now, I'm going to stop you right there. First
Yes.
off, what is Operation High Jump? And what is Operation, did you say Windmill?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like you to just...
Operation Windmill was the mapping project
And
when
what
they
is-
went and did all the land mapping.
Okay, and what is the High Jump one?
That's when they went down to Antarctica.
That's when they discovered Antarctica and they wanted to get over the ice wall. That was Project High Jump in 1946, and then in 55 they had Operation what does that say? The Operation
Deep
What's
freeze.
the second one? I can't see it. It's covered on my screen.
It's deep freeze.
Operation Deep Freeze. That's where they discovered the dome, apparently. So that's when they were exploring on the outside of Antarctica. They quickly developed NASA after that, which basically put a cage over us, right? And the Van Allen radiation belts to hide the firmament. Then they started the Antarctic Treaty. All of the countries in the world that were all at war, killing each other, decided we have to protect the penguins. Nobody can explore Antarctica, even though Admiral Byrd said there's land there bigger than the United States, filled with resources that no human has ever set eyes on. Okay. But somehow they started this treaty and nobody can even question it until the year 2046. Right. Then Operation Fishbowl. What is that? They're shooting bombs into the sky, crashing them into something. Okay. They're trying to blow a hole in the firmament. And then they had the Apollo missions to basically make you think you live on a ball and hide the whole thing. So why this lie? It's all about mind control. Dave, if I put a fence around your yard or your state or your country and said you can never go on the other side of that fence, you'd be like, no way, man. I want to go to the other side. No matter where you put the fence, you always want to go to the other side. That's just human nature. So they put our minds in a prison, and that prison is the globe. You're in a jail, you're confined area, but you don't see the fence because there's more. They're hiding what this place is, who you are. There's very likely more land.
Right.
Oh, I have no doubt that that Antarctica is a very strategic piece of land for anyone who would be in the military and a government or anything like that. I mean, it certainly isn't a place that's habitable towards normal civilization as we know it. I mean, you can't really grow crops there. It's just too cold, et cetera, et cetera. But the military has been.
Have you ever been there?
Well, of course not. I mean, okay. I don't know. I think I maybe know two people who've been down there.
Yeah. So I will agree that when you get to Antarctica, it's cold, but what is out there? Does it get warmer again? Here's a map that was Japanese map that was printed in New York magazine, the New York Journal, which is now the New York Times in late 1800s. And it shows 50 other continents outside of Antarctica. What if now, again, anything beyond this pink line, which is the 60th degrees south, is off limits. No one's allowed to explore beyond this line, which is thousands of miles from Antarctica, or at least 1,000 miles. And no one's allowed to independently explore there. You could spend $10, $30, $40, $50,000 to go down there for 3 days. They'll bring you to this peninsula. They'll show you some penguins. They'll show you some icebergs. They'll bring you out here. They'll say, here's the ceremonial South Pole, ceremonial. You can't figure out where you are because compasses don't work and GPS doesn't work. So where are they taking you? And then that's it. This is all off limits. Just speculating. What if this is how Antarctica was? And out here was another sun and a moon, and there was extra territory out here, Dave. Extra territory. If I lived out here and came in to visit from the extra terra, what would you call me?
An extraterrestrial, yeah.
And if you live here in the inner space, where did I come from?
Interdimensional.
Outer space.
Extraterrestrials come from the outer space across the Earth plane, right? It's right here in front of us. They always tell us in their words, and how about this? So I'm jumping ahead.
Because I want to get into details, and I want to make sure that we're really thorough about this whole thing, not just for everybody that's watching's eyes, for my own as well.
Let's talk about one of my favorites, which is pretty hard hitting, is airplane routes. So here's a major city, Buenos Aires, and here's another major city, Perth in Australia.
Right.
And the shortest path would be straight across Antarctica, but we can't disturb the penguins by flying an airplane over Antarctica. So let's say they have to go around. They go around. That's okay. Or maybe this way, around. Right?
Well, they go around because they basically turned Antarctica into a no-fly zone because of the military installations down there. And there's a whole bunch of secret crap going on, all kinds of expeditions and archaeology and all kinds of stuff like that. They don't want people flying over there.
Cool stuff.
I understand that. It's not a matter of them, they don't fly over there out of choice. It's not like they can't.
Well, So that's why I'm saying,
Isn't that funny?
Even with that story, you could fly around, right?
Yeah.
Why
and
would
do.
they take? So this is the route. There's 2 routes that they take from those 2 cities. Okay. Whoops. Wrong. Where'd it go?
Yeah, I'm really
Yeah.
curious to find out how you're going to solve this. If we're looking at the map that you showed a little while ago,
Mhm.
okay, if you can go back to that disk map,
Here it is
Okay.
again.
yeah, okay. So if according to the flat Earth theory, you would have to fly from. No, not that one. That's showing a globe. Okay.
No.
That's not-
You're
no.
seeing
That's
a
not.
globe. This is the same flat
That's
Earth
a-
map.
Okay, I was looking at the YouTube. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The Facebook.
No.
Okay. Now there you go. Now I'm seeing Perth. Okay.
Miami.
And- yeah, I'm looking at that.
Houston.
So the point is that the flight path, according to if this Earth is flat, you would have to fly north out of Buenos Aires, and you'd have to go up, excuse me, across the Atlantic Ocean, right? Excuse me. No, wait a second. Are you flying to look at your own map? Are you pointing
No.
to your own map? You're either pointing to the flight to Sydney or to Perth. Now, the
Hang on.
red line is Sydney.
Hang on.
No.
Dave, let me show you what I'm showing you, and then you comment.
Okay.
So from Perth, there's 2 routes that they take. One, they either go to Miami or Houston. Then they stop again in California. Then they stop again in Sydney, and then they cut across to Perth. It takes like 26 hours. Another way they go, they fly to Europe, they fly to Singapore, and then they fly to Perth. Nobody ever goes south and pops up over in Perth. No one's ever done it.
That's not true.
Nope.
That
It
is
is.
absolutely not true.
Dave,
Hold
Dave.
it. Stop. My turn.
Let him have-
My
let him have his
turn.
moment.
Sit down, Jason. One moment, please. I lived in Argentina for 6.5 years. I had several friends who were Aussies. So, I mean, they all flew in from, I had people fly in from Perth and from Sydney. And both of those flight patterns took them right around Antarctica, not over it, but right around it. And you can look up these flight paths. You can track these planes. We could get Monkey Works on the line here and say, hey, let's track a flight from Buenos Aires to Perth or from Buenos Aires to Sydney. And he would show you that those flights are going south. They're not going to go north.
Hey, do us one better, Dave. Why don't you go on and buy a ticket from Perth to Buenos Aires? Please. Go on. No. Go on there and buy one and see where your stops are. That's all you got to do.
Jason, let's just hold
common
on.
sense.
I had
I
the
know.
same beliefs
I know.
Dave had until we looked. We actually, nope, we lost Dave.
No, he'll be back.
I'm here.
He's still there. He's not walking out of this conversation.
He's getting the noose ready.
He's gonna be very
No.
passionate. Jason, we gotta
Now
be
this,
chill.
this
right?
is all.
I got it right here.
Oh, God, here we go.
Okay.
Shit.
Now, right here. Okay. There's Buenos Aires. Okay.
You're using an imaginary
Yeah.
tool.
Just
Okay.
give his
Oh, no,
moment.
I'm going. This is where I'm starting from. You're starting from flat Earth, and you're calling me an imaginary tool, but you haven't proven that yet. So I'm showing you where the flight pattern is, and I followed this. Okay.
Oh,
And
this is gonna
from
be good.
here over to here is Sydney.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's
Yeah.
Sydney. And if you're going to fly right over near, not over, but near this Antarctica and come over here, this is the shortest distance between 2 points.
Yeah.
Here
Never
to here.
happened.
Yeah.
Okay. That's exactly what happens.
So
There
Dave,
are,
so
there are
Dave,
nonstop. Hold it. There are
No.
nonstop flights from Sydney to Buenos Aires, and
I'll bet
nonstop
you-
flights.
I'll bet you there's not. How much you
no,
want to bet
there
on that?
are. Wait, hold on, Jason. There are nonstop flights. We actually tracked Max Eigen. We did a live stream where we tracked him. He was on the live stream in the airport, got on the airplane until the plane took off. Then we tracked the plane, and where they said the plane was going did not match with the compass readings that Max Eigen took. It didn't make any sense. He said he was watching the seat back, and it showed this route, the same route that you just showed us, Dave. And he said, all right, I should have been going south, or, but he was going north, and then he was going east, west, and then south. And that we lined it up on a flat earth. It makes,
of course.
Hold on, Dave. We followed, he was being shown on his seat back route, the same route you just showed.
Right.
Also, the flight tracker showed the same route you just showed,
Right.
but his compass readings did not show that. It
Do you know
showed
why? I can tell you exactly why. This
Mhm.
is very, very, very simple. Because your compass is always going to want to point to the north. Now, as you get to the South Pole, the compass is going to get just a little confused. Just like if
Dave?
you were to fly right over the North Pole, it wouldn't be quite sure which way to point. So when you go south, okay, it's going to be pointing to the north. And when you get near the South Pole, this thing's going to start pointing, getting screwy. Which way am I going? Because I'm like on the opposite magnetic field of
Dave.
the Earth.
So let me explain. Let me explain. For one, you and I have never used a compass in Antarctica, but we've seen many people try to use compasses in Antarctica and they don't work.
That's right.
Wait, hold on.
Absolutely,
Let me finish what
yeah.
I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The times where his compass readings were disagreeing was when he was over North America, when he was passing, Alaska, right? So check this out, Dave. Here's a trip from Taiwan to California. Okay. Right about here, there was a medical emergency, and the pilot needed to land. He could have landed in Hawaii. He could have kept going, but instead he went all the way up to Alaska. Okay. Why did he go to Alaska? Because this was the route he was taking: Taiwan, emergency, Alaska. Right.
Yeah.
And then if you want to go from Perth, you go Perth, Singapore, over Alaska, all the way down this way.
Now
this is the route.
Now, I agree with that particular map because of a friend of mine that took a route as well. Now, his route was from Seattle to Saudi Arabia. And he told me he was flying over Alaska and Russia.
Yeah.
And that's why he was
That's correct.
Seattle up to Alaska and Russia and over. Not your globe, Dave.
Yeah.
The flat map makes more sense. Yours doesn't
I'm
make any
looking at
sense
it right
on the globe.
here. So you're going to go from Taiwan.
Seattle to Dubai.
Okay. Look. Here we go.
Seattle
at the
to
North
Dubai.
Pole. Okay.
Seattle
looking
to
at the
Dubai.
North Pole here. All right.
You're missing something, Dave. Make sure you're spinning that at 1,040 miles an hour.
Oh, just leave that one alone for now.
No,
Okay,
no,
Jason?
no. Make sure you're spinning that.
It's a whole different argument. We'll shoot that one down in a few minutes, okay? But
Oh no, please do. Please
Okay.
keep it spinning.
Okay.
Okay,
Just
let
2
him
seconds,
go,
you guys.
Jason. Let him
Can
go.
I
Let him
see?
go.
I want to see his,
Okay, look
and then I want to
let
see
him
the
go.
other Dave's. Okay.
Right here, North America, right? And here is Seattle. Okay. Now I'm going to put my finger right there. Singapore
Dubai.
is over here.
Dubai.
Oh, Dubai. Okay, that's fine. Okay, Dubai. Okay. Okay, where is it here? Over here. Okay, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So naturally, you're going to fly up north, past Alaska, come right over now you're heading south across Russia, and you come right down here to Dubai.
Now
so
wait. Now stop. Now, Dave, will you bring up
Yeah.
your flat map and show him the route that it would be, please?
So here's the flight path from Santiago to Australia.
No, we're going to
I
do
don't
the
know
same
why
thing.
they
We're
think they
doing
need
the same
to cross
thing.
the equator.
No, we're not.
Go
We're
all
not
the way
doing
up
that.
to
Just a
America,
second.
and then cut back down.
David, just
And
a
if you
second.
wanna
Where
go-
did you get that map?
No, David,
who
just
made
a
that
second.
map?
No, wait a
Dave-
second. Dave and Dave, wait 2 seconds. Flat Earth Dave, I would really like you to bring up the round flat Earth map and look at it and try and show Seattle and Dubai so we can compare it against what Dave just did. Because what Dave just showed is that it goes from Seattle up over Alaska, Russia, and flat across, which would be the same thing as what would happen on the flat Earth, correct?
Yeah, so flights in the north are very similar on the ball and on the globe. It's the southern flights that get you. Okay,
Mhm.
so Seattle over Alaska. Where are we going?
To Dubai.
Dubai. Where's Dubai? Right over here somewhere.
Yeah, by Saudi Arabia.
Okay, so this is the route. It's pretty much the same. It's the top half of the globe.
Okay, so
right?
those aren't going to
the
vary.
problem
We're
is
talking
when you
about
go
southern ones then.
What's that?
We're talking about southern flights where we're having these discrepancies.
Yeah. So if you want to go to Western Australia, the flight route they take you is all the way up, all the way over to Europe, Dubai, and then down. And we look at that on a flat Earth map. We go all the way up across Europe, Dubai, and Western Australia. It's a straight line because airplanes fly straight over the Earth plane. They're not over the Earth globe.
Okay. All right. Now, you just pointed out on your map, what you said. Okay. This is your map, your theory, your words. Okay. You're showing me on your map there as far as flying from Perth to, where did it go? Okay, there it is. I looked at the wrong screen there. Okay, it's kind of hard to see. It's rather small right now.
That's because I changed the view.
So you're telling me that to fly from Perth to, where was it? Buenos Aires? What did you say?
Buenos Aires to Perth.
To Perth. Okay, so you're saying that you have to fly due north, damn well due north from Buenos Aires, South America, Buenos Aires. What you're saying is that you have to fly north over.
So, Dave.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. The flights I was showing you are flights with stops, and these are the stops that they make. Now, there are some direct flights from Santiago to Australia. All right. Now, lots of times they're canceled. Lots of times the plane shows up 5 hours later than expected. 5 hours later. So what could account for this? Right. So let me share my app because I want to show you the actual wind maps of the world. All right. So is that all right? Did I blow up your screen?
Yeah, I see it.
All right. So I'm going to turn on the maps of the winds at 40,000 feet. This is the winds of the world. So they don't go, make those big sine waves. So down here is Perth. Here's Santiago. The plane could fly up into these. Now, these pink and white tailwinds are like 150, 200, 250 mile an hour winds. Could grab this ride right here and fly all the way around, and bam, it's in Australia, right? Now, these winds aren't always the same. They change. They're pretty consistent, but they change over time. So lots of times when they're not cooperating, the flights are canceled. They're like, oh, your nonstop flight is now a multi-connection flight, and it's going to take you 26 hours instead of 14 hours. Happens all the time.
No.
I just can't believe you're doing this.
No.
You're basically modeling your premise and making the statistics and the wind and everything to fit that premise.
Well, hang on, Dave. Let me ask you a question. They show us. Remember how this is spinning, right? So these are pretty concentric circles. Very interesting.
Yeah, but who makes this? Who made that?
That's actually live weather right now. It's actual live weather put onto our map. So the weird thing is on the globe, they tell us that these trade winds make these crazy loop-de-loops. I'm looking for the image. Where is it? They show us the trade winds go. Oh yeah, they go up, they go down, right?
Like the jet stream.
What's more likely, that when I take these perfectly circular winds and I convert them into the globe, they become out of these crazy wild loops, or that it's the other way around? When we do it that way, it's like, how could this turn into this when I put it on a flat map? It makes no sense.
Right.
It makes no sense.
Right.
That's right.
That's
because your map doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me.
No. It doesn't make sense to you because you're not thinking clearly about this. Now,
no, the wind maps make a lot of sense though, because when you think about the hurricane,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but
the jet stream and the reverses of everything, it makes a lot of sense.
Number one, we have a diary from a naval officer on the whole Operation High Jump, and he gives detailed descriptions on what they found.
Okay.
When they went down there. Now,
it would be great if you could share that. I'd love to see that. You
can
hold it up in front of the camera, but I'd love to.
If you could get your head out of your ass a little bit, it'd be nice. Because what you're doing is hold on a second. The thing is that you're sitting here and you're making fun and ridiculing people's maps.
I'm not making fun. I just want to know where they came from. Who designed them?
Who designed that ball?
I could draw a picture of anything I want and then make numbers and facts to fit that.
When did that come into play? that thing sitting behind you. When did this come into play? The Gleason standard map of the world.
Hey, Jason,
18
calm down. Calm down.
No,
Don't
no,
get mad. You don't have to get mad.
No, I do, because you know what the thing is that you sit here and you think that just because you have all these years into it that everybody's wrong in this.
No, I'm just
Yes.
I'm basing my
You're
opinion.
you're basing your opinion. Now that's why I asked you. Start spinning that ball. Spin the ball too, because if it's spinning at 1,040 miles an hour, no. You said it's not a ball, so spin it.
What I
Now
don't
fly. No.
talking about?
Because nope. Yes.
it, now
exactly.
fly.
Now go ahead and fly.
Now
Go ahead and fly now, Dave. He's spinning.
What's your
No.
point? What's your point?
The point is because your globe model says it's a spinning ball. Says that it's spinning at 1,040 miles an hour.
At the
Okay.
equator, it's spinning different speeds in different areas.
Yeah.
What does
Well,
water do when it's on a what does water do when it's on a ball? Have you taken a tennis ball and soaked it in water and spun it on concrete?
Yeah, but what's that got to do with it?
What happens to the water?
It has everything to do with it, Dave.
Wait, Jason, let me cut in here. I hate the tennis ball water thing because the tennis ball doesn't have gravity and the earth supposedly has gravity. So I'm going to take Dave's side on this one. But let's look at this. So at the equator, Dave, on the ball that you defend, you know
Right.
what the circumference of the equator is?
Was it 36,000, something like that?
It's 24,000 miles.
24.
And change.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Too much.
So if the earth is spinning around once a day, if you're sitting on the equator, not moving, how fast are you moving through space? And you're moving
Right.
1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're
So
1
how come we
mile
don't
from
get blown
No.
off of our feet with 1,000-mile an
Just
hour
wait
winds?
a second, Dave.
no,
Let him
because
finish
the
his
whole
thought.
atmosphere is spinning with us. I'm with you.
That's exactly
I'm
right.
I'm with you. So now,
Oh,
if you're
okay.
1 mile from the North Pole,
Right.
how fast are you moving?
Oh, a lot slower, obviously.
Less than a mile per hour, way less than one mile
Okay.
per hour. So essentially, because it's in 24 hours, you're only moving 3.14 miles. Divide that by 24, you're moving like a quarter of a mile an hour or less.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So you're sitting on an airplane on the runway a mile from the North Pole.
Okay.
The airplane takes off. How fast is the airplane going to fly?
It's going to fly, however, the airspeed is
500
that it's
miles an
moving
hour,
to.
let's say.
500 miles an hour.
Average speed of an airplane, 500 miles an hour.
Okay.
Okay. So it flies down to the equator, right?
Right.
And then it wants to land in Ecuador on a north-south runway that's moving sideways at 1,000 miles an hour. How does it get that sideways speed? Where does it gain that 1,000 miles an hour of sideways speed to
Why does it
mirror
need-
the runway so it can
Why
land
does it?
on it?
Now you just told me that the atmosphere is moving with the Earth.
No.
Okay.
Well, I said that's
Otherwise,
what you
we'd be
believe.
blown
But
out
my question is how? So all of the air is velcroed to the Earth. Is that what you believe? So the air above Alaska is moving 300 miles an hour. The air above Ecuador is moving 1,000 miles per hour.
Whoa,
That's what you believe.
wait. Now you're saying that the air is moving at that speed. I'm not saying.
I'm asking. Well, you're saying
Atmosphere.
that the atmosphere is spinning with the Earth. I don't understand how a summer breeze can blow the air left and right and whatnot. But how do I gain that 1,000 mile an hour of sideways speed to land on a spinning runway that's moving sideways? It's moving
because
sideways
the
at
atmosphere
1,000
is
miles an
moving
hour.
with the Earth. The atmosphere, if the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, the atmosphere is spinning along with it. So there is no sideways; they're all moving together.
Then why wouldn't you have 1,040 mile an hour winds? If
And
the
that's a
atmosphere's
good-
moving-
that's a
I
good
hear what he's saying.
question.
It's moving with the Earth, but how does that airplane gain that 1,000 miles an hour? So
It
as it's
doesn't
flying
have
north,
to. It doesn't
Okay,
have to.
I'm
It's
just gonna
traveling
say
in the
this.
atmosphere. The
I'm
atmosphere
not
is traveling
learning
at 1,000
anything
miles an
by
hour.
you guys
But you're
battling
in-
back and forth, okay? And nobody is anybody else that's watching this. It's just argument back and forth. I'd really like to just go through some information that explains both
Okay.
these things, and then we ask some questions because you guys started battling. in
no
the beginning,
problem.
and it
Let's
hasn't really
move
stopped.
on. Let's move on to the next thing. What other you
I
have?
want to go through some information.
Well, how about a flight time from New York to LA and LA to New York?
and we've talked about that.
Yes,
You
we
know,
have.
it's the exact same flight time when it really shouldn't.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
Yes.
Dave.
Totally
besides
understand that.
besides flights that you haven't been able to physically track yourself, and no, that's no offense. What other reasons do you think the Earth is a globe?
Oh my gosh. This,
That's a good
well, I
question.
could point. Okay, let's say. All right. I was going to set this up in my bedroom. I
Wait,
have it all
one
set with-
question. One question. can you turn that globe upside down and tell me if there's a sticker on the bottom?
Oh yeah, I know.
On the bottom of the globe, is there a sticker?
I don't think
No?
so. Not on this one.
All right, never mind.
Okay.
You've had it for a while. A sticker probably came off.
Why? What is the sticker supposed to say?
The stickers say not for educational purposes, for decorative purposes only. Says it on every globe that you buy in a store.
Okay, I'd like to see that, but that's okay.
Next time you see a globe in a store,
well, that's not going to prove anything, really. I mean, anybody.
No, I'm just saying, just pointing something out.
Okay.
But
okay.
Okay, go ahead. Proof of the globe.
Okay. Let's say. You know what? Let me go set this up. You guys chat for about 30 seconds. I'm going to go turn something.
I don't want to,
here.
Dave. I don't want to do that right this second.
Okay.
We need to get some information. Dave Weiss was to bring some information on having a better understanding about this. We spent a half an hour battling each other, and I would rather see some educational information because that's what I'm here to do, is to learn.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let me see if I can't set this up here. Now, here's a globe. Now, let's say, let me put this on the United States here so you could see that. It's kind of hard because in my monitor, everything's backwards. Okay. So we all recognize this, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if let's say I'm standing right here, I'm at Lake Erie, let's say one of the Great Lakes, and I'm standing right here. Okay. Now the sun is going to have my shadow point to the north. All right. If it's the sun is coming from, let's say, straight on, okay, my shadow would point to the north.
We'll say it's at the
equator. Are you
equator.
with me on that?
Yeah, we'll say it's at the equator.
Right. Now, if I was at the equator, I wouldn't have hardly any shadow at all.
Okay.
And if I'm down
I got this,
here,
Kelly. I got this.
If I'm down here, the shadow would point to the south. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the point is that if I'm standing here, or standing here, or standing here, it's going to, which way my shadow is falling is going to indicate where the sun is in relation to where I'm standing.
Okay, now you've made your point.
Dave.
Let him
go
let
ahead.
him go. Thank you.
All right. So I'm just holding a flat surface up, which happens to be the Flat Earth app. Okay.
Okay.
So for one, you said the sun rays are coming in straight. I don't know why anyone would ever think sun rays come in straight, because no one's ever seen them come in straight. They always come in splaying out in crepuscular rays. Sun rays do not ever come in straight. They always spread out like this. This is how sun rays always spread out. But we're told, because the sun is so far away, that they all come in parallel. So let me ask you a question. If I'm standing right here, I'm right here, and I have a light above me, directly above me, right where my hand is, right? I'm up here. I don't know if you can't really see. I'm up here. Light's right above me. Do I have a shadow?
No.
If it's light straight up above you, then your shadow is under your feet.
I'm on the equator, on the flat Earth.
Right.
I'm going to move the sun out to the south over the Tropic of Capricorn. It's now over there. Do I have a shadow?
Yes, you'll have a shadow pointing the opposite direction.
It's facing north, right?
Right.
If I move the sun to the Tropic of Cancer in the north, do I have a shadow? Yes.
Of course.
It's facing south.
Correct.
If the sun is right over me and
Right.
I put somebody over here, they have a shadow facing south. If I put somebody over here, they have a shadow facing north. Does that
Right.
mean that my floor is spherical? Here, let me.
You're saying
what
you're saying
tie right into what
Dave,
you're
just let
saying.
him have a few moments.
What's that?
I'm telling him to let you have a few moments.
Yeah. So Dave, this is how the sky is a perfect clock, right? It's the sun is the hour hand of the clock. It's normally attached to the hour hand, but they have us in daylight savings time right now, so they're telling us the time is an hour later than it really is. But wherever the sun is, it's noon. The sun laps the moon once every 28 days. If I speed it up, you'll see that the sun starts catching up to the moon. The moon is waning, and so the moon keeps track of the weeks and the months. Did you know that there used to be 13 months of 28 days?
Right.
But they hijacked our calendar and changed it to 12 months of 28 to 31 days.
Oh yeah. Well, the Geneva Bible talks about in the during the Passover in the second week of the first month, which indicates that March would have been the first month. So we
Okay.
had a
Alright,
10-month
so
calendar then.
Before we go
Very
forward,
good.
since
We agree on that. So right now there's a new moon. The sun is going to lap the moon, and then you'll start seeing a waxing crescent appearing from behind the moon. So there's the sun getting away. So the sun laps the moon once every 28 days, right? I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to turn on the stars. The stars spin in fixed positions. Remember that, because I'm going to show you something which is going to make this impossible. And right now the sun is in this zodiac, and the stars will lap the sun only once a year. It's going slightly faster. So the sun will hang out in this zodiac. In a month, it'll be in this zodiac. In another month, it'll be here, which is Cancer. It'll stay there for a month. And a year later, we'll be back to where we are right now. So this is how seasons work. So this inner yellow line is the Tropic of Cancer, and the outer yellow line is the Tropic of Capricorn. Right now, the sun is inside of the red line, which is the equator. So the north is having its spring right now. If I jump the sun forward to June, the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer. Okay? It's over the Tropic of Cancer. That's when we have the height of our summer. So when the sun comes around, you can see my mouse.
Yeah,
it goes right over here. What's that?
No, I could see that. Yeah, that's what I said.
So the sun, when it comes around, it'll be right here where my mouse is. It'll be right over Miami. That's why it's so hot in Miami in June and July, because the sun is directly over them. When it's over you, it's high in the sky. Okay?
Right.
It's high in the sky. Well, Australia is having their winter at the same time because the sun is farther away and lower in the sky. Dave, if you had two airplanes, one of them was right over your head at 10,000 feet, and one of them was 50 miles to the south, with same height, paralleling that plane. The one to the south is lower in the sky. It's farther away. That's your winter sun. The airplane over your head is your summer sun. Hang on.
No,
so
I
look,
get you.
Australia is having their winter. 6 months later, the sun migrates out to the Tropic of Capricorn, and Australia is having its summer because the sun is high in the sky. It's close to it. It's over their head. We're having our winter because when the sun comes around, it's all the way out south in the outer southern plain. That's how seasons happen, because seasons make zero sense on a spinning ball Earth. Because if the tilt of the Earth was just spreading out the sunlight, then at sunrise every day of the year, it would be freezing. But here's an experiment you can do. Where are you located? What state?
Montana.
You're in Montana. Well, so in Montana, it would work also. I'm in Connecticut. I can go down in June and July, and I wait for the sun to appear on the horizon. And I immediately, when I see the sun, I could feel the heat on my face. That is the most severe tilt the Earth could be away from the sun at sunrise. I could feel the heat on my face strong, right within minutes of the sun appearing on the horizon. Then I could wait until December 21st, when the sun is over the Tropic of Capricorn. And I could wait until solar noon, when the sun is 40, 50 degrees in the sky, and I could look at it and I can't even feel the heat on my face. It is at a much more direct angle, and it's at a much more direct angle, and I can't feel the heat. And in the heliocentric model, here's something I guarantee you didn't know. In the heliocentric model, are we closer or farther from the sun in the north during our summer?
Oh, we're closer.
In our summer.
In our
We're
summer,
3.5 million miles farther from the sun in our summer, according to the heliocentric model. So how is it that in June, when I'm looking at the sun skimming the horizon, I could feel the heat on my face, and it's 3.5 million miles farther away than in December, when the sun is at its high point for the day, 3.5 million miles closer and more direct angle, I can't even feel the heat on my face. That's because my map, what I just showed you, is how seasons work. Seasons make zero sense.
Can you on that map
globe
that you had up that had the clock on it? Because that was really interesting, and that was one question that had come up by a friend of mine, was how does this relevance show like Alaska that has like, I don't remember, it was like a minimum
Very,
of like
very
6
good.
weeks.
Very good. So
You know what I'm talking about? Darkness, essentially.
we're going to talk about sunsets in a little bit, and this is one of my specialties. The sun
Well,
sets.
before
Go-
we change the subject,
Yeah,
before
yeah.
we go, I want to go back to this chart that you were showing me because I find this very intriguing. I don't disagree with the way that explains the seasons, because there's no disagreement between that and the standard belief of the Earth spinning on its axis, and in the fall we're tilted this way. I mean, in the winter we're tilted this way, and in the summer we're tilted this way. Both of those theories, they both fit together quite well. So I have no
100%
disagreement.
not. You're missing the point completely. You're missing the point completely, Dave.
How
take
can
your
I be
map,
missing
pretend-
the point when I
pretend your
agree
head-
with you?
Pretend you're 100% wrong. Take the globe. Pretend your face is the sun. Show me what the summer looks like on that globe, tilted towards your sun. So
Okay,
that's the summer.
So, all right. So,
So
if
there's
my
the
face
north
is
side of the
sun,
ball is tilted
my
towards your
is the
face,
sun.
and you
Well,
have more direct view.
You asked me to do this. I'm trying to speak. So
Okay, go
just hold on one second here. Now you said my face is the sun,
Yes.
and here's the Earth.
Yes.
When it's summertime in the northern hemisphere, the North Pole is closer because the Earth is spinning on its axis, which is why we have longer days in the summer and warmer days. Now, the thing I did not agree with you with is about how many miles away. Obviously, if my face is the sun, my face is closer to this than it is to this. So I would disagree with you on that point, but that the way that spinning clock graphic is that you've got right now, it's pretty much agrees with what we're saying here. So in the summertime, the North Pole is closer, and that's why it's 24 hours of sun for the summer in the northern hemisphere. Now, likewise, in the wintertime, and the Earth is tilted away, that means the South Pole is going to be getting 6 months of sunlight. Okay. And people up here in the northern hemisphere, as a matter of fact, let's see if we're in Montana here, and my face is the sun. Montana moves almost right up to the tippity top of the Earth at this point. Okay, and then comes down. Anyway, so this basically agrees with what you've got going there. What I didn't agree with was how many miles away the sun was from the equator versus northern hemisphere. I didn't go along with that, but we're in agreement with that. What I would like to see,
Dave,
is a side view of your flat model Earth, and explain how the sun doesn't reach the other part of the Earth.
I was going to explain that, and I will. You disagree the fact that you think in the summer that we're closer to the sun. We're not. Go look it up. We don't have to do it now, but just go look it up. We're 3.5 million miles farther.
Oh, maybe the
entire
Earth.
Earth.
Yes, the entire Earth. Yes, I thought you meant the
3.5 million miles farther from the sun.
Okay, no, okay, I agree with that too. I thought you were talking about on
this
the
isn't
surface
about
of the
agreeing or disagreeing, to be honest with you, both of you.
Yep.
I'm just going to say this right now. I would really like my question about Alaska answered. And
Okay.
Dave, we're going to give Dave Flat Earth, podcast Dave, we're going to give him some time to explain some of these things, and we're going to stop with so many questions. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Because we still have callers, and we're now 50 minutes into this, and I haven't gotten one answer yet.
All right. So the reason the sun sets is because it moves far away from us, and it sets due to perspective, and it has to do with the atmosphere. So when the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer, Alaska, Norway are close to the center. And if you follow that line all the way around, it never gets far enough away from Alaska to set. So midnight for Alaska would be like over here, and it's still close enough to Alaska to be above the horizon. So it goes around and around. So we have 24 hours of sunlight in Alaska, in Norway, in the Arctic. Remember that word. So
I'm wondering about the 24 hours of darkness for a long time, though.
yeah, so we jump the sun out to the Tropic of Capricorn. Well, guess what? Now my clock does not show exactly. There's a very rough line. I can't get the exact thing in here, but the sun is far enough away from Alaska that it will never rise. It's never close enough to Alaska where it won't rise for weeks or months, depending on where you are in the Arctic. Okay. So here's the thing. If the Earth was a globe, the same degrees south would have the same day and night 6 months apart, right? You mentioned the 20. So when I go back to the Tropic of Cancer, when the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer, the Antarctic the sun never rises because the sun is never close enough to rise. Okay, it goes around, and you have some long nights, right? But the problem is the 24-hour sun never happens in Antarctica. There's only 3 or 4 videos of a 24-hour sun. I know, big eyebrow. I had the same thing. Well, you look, it's not just us saying they're fake. They're fake. We've talked to the people at the Antarctic bases, and they show us these time-lapse footages where you can see the shadows moving around, but there's always an 8-hour gap. They always cut out 8 hours. They never show a circling sun, ever. It's never been shown. It's just a belief that there is a circling sun. What was the other question, Kelly, that I was going to cover?
I don't remember.
Well, I had the question. I wanted to see a diagram. Okay, we're looking at a straight down view of the flat Earth from this graphic.
Yeah, we're looking at the plane.
I'd like to see what the side view. You had something put up in the earlier part of the broadcast, and you said something a little while ago that I had to stop and just shake my head on, because you said that the sunlight does not travel in a straight line. So I'm just trying to figure out how light rays curve.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand that and equate that towards the other graphic that you had. That's like a horizontal view of the flat Earth.
Right.
And what I'm wondering is, how does water bend? That's all I'm asking.
How
Dave.
do large bodies of water at rest?
Yeah, globe, Dave. Just one question. Just how does water curve?
Well, I mean, large bodies of water at rest lay flat. So there, if the Earth is 24,901 miles around, there should be curvature over a certain distance. We shouldn't be able to see things 100 miles away, but we can, right? At 100 miles, a submarine. We've had Navy, submarine, navigators talk to us. The submarine can be near the bottom of the ocean, and it could send out its sonar, goes in a straight line to hit something, it bounces back. It could see another submarine over 100 miles away. At 100 miles, there should be a mountain over a mile high between them. Same thing on the surface of the water. They can gunnery ships can put a pinpoint, a pencil thin laser beam on another ship 100 miles away. That ship should be 6,600 feet behind a hump of water that tall,
And that
right?
makes sense.
But we can see too far. That's the bottom line there.
Okay. Where's that documented? How can you
Well,
see that? Do you have any
it's easy.
photographs?
It's easy. It's easy, Dave. It's called a railgun. The Navy came out with it just a few years ago. A railgun can actually shoot it's a 23-pound projectile. 23, go figure. 23-pound projectile, and they could shoot it up to 200 miles, right? And it could hit within 5 meters every time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with 200 miles, when you're shooting something like a railgun, it's going Mach 1 to Mach 7, right? Now, when you're going that fast, does that projectile know naturally to curve with the Earth?
A projectile, whether it be a baseball or a bullet or an arrow, they all subscribe to what we call gravity. And over a period of time, like if you've ever been to a shooting range.
But gravity's a lie.
That's not what he asked. He's not asking about gravity. He's asking about something moving that is being shot like 200 miles or whatever.
Miles. And hitting a target.
How can it target something that's 5 miles below the curve of the Earth? At 200 miles,
gravity's going to pull
5
the
miles.
No, gravity does not.
Gravity is not a
Why would
factor
it
in
not?
this.
I mean, you can, when you fire a bullet out of a gun, a tracer bullet, you can watch that tracer bullet. It doesn't go straight like a laser. It goes straight and it starts to go down because gravity.
Yes, because it's losing. No, because it's losing velocity, Dave.
Well, hold on, Jason. You're both right. If I had a bullet in my hand and a bullet in a gun, and I shot and dropped the bullet at the same time, they'd both hit the ground at the same time. The other one would just be a mile away.
Right.
Okay?
That's my point.
Because they're falling down. But how do you target something that's 5 miles below a mountain of Earth, 5 miles, Dave.
And hit it.
Yeah. So let me show you about curvature. So this is a famous viewing spot in Aluja, France. Okay. And it's very famous because out here is Mount Canigou at 175 miles away. Right. But you can't see it because at 175 miles away from this viewing height, according to globe math, the very top of that mountain should be a mile below the curve of the Earth. So a ball believer would believe this is the horizon, which is the curve of the Earth. But remember, I showed you how the sun migrates in between the 2 tropics. 2 days a year, the sun lines up with this viewing spot and Mount Canigou. And as it moves away, it starts backlighting Mount Canigou because the light reflecting off Mount Canigou isn't bright enough to come all the way to your eyes. But when it's backlit, you can see Mount Canigou. Here's the top of Mount Canigou. The top of that mountain should be a mile below the physical curve, but we can see it. No curvature, no ball. We can see that sun. So, and look, as it moves away, it kind of looks like it's setting from the bottom up. That's just due to perspective, right?
Gravity.
So the way we see the sunset is as the sun moves away, these clouds that I inserted here are how we see the clouds. They're all at the same height. And as the sun moves away, it looks like it's setting. And this cloud at like 20, 30 miles away merges with the horizon and the sun just goes beyond it. And that's why we think we see a setting sun, but that's not how a setting sun happens. So here's me with my drone on a super, super clear day, 32 degrees outside, no humidity in the air. And I'm watching the sun. And the sun was up here. And in 5 minutes time, it went down, down, down. Now, if the earth was spinning, it should just keep on going down, but it didn't. It went down, 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 down. And then it stopped right at this apparent horizon. And it sat there for 10 minutes. Now, this is 2,500% sped up. And instead of going below, it just sat there and then it faded away because its light could no longer push through the atmosphere. Here it is again. It just faded into the thickness. It never goes below the earth. So how does that work? We see everything in what I call our personal atmospheric dome. So here's a glass dome sitting on Antarctica. This is Antarctica. It's a blanket. And I'm passing a light over us. And as I pass it, this little sun drops, but it never goes below. It stops and it fades out. Here, I'll bring it back again. You'll watch the sun will appear on the horizon. It'll rise up in the sky. Okay. You're viewing this from the center of this dome and it goes away and then it never goes below. It just stops and fades away.
Okay.
That's how we see the sun.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right. Some places, this is a high plain in Africa, and the sun, this is sped up also. It doesn't go down. It's just going away.
It looks like Paul McCartney there.
It is. He's singing, "The fool on the hill sees the sun going down, but the eyes in his head see the world spinning round." So let me show you an experiment that I did. My kitchen is actually a flat earth kitchen as I stall to look for this. All right. So here's my flat earth kitchen counter. And I have this line, which is the path of the sun, and it's level. And I've proved that it's level in the video because I showed the whole setup. And I'm moving the sun across this line. And here's mountains or a cloud deck, whatever you want it to be. This camera is at the height of the sun, and it's showing you that the sun's going in a straight line. But now I'm going to show you the camera view from over here on the other side from the level of my flat earth counter. And as the sun goes away, it kind of looks like it's going down, but it's really a straight level line. And as it goes by this blocking, whatever it is blocking, whether it's the cloud deck, atmosphere deck, or mountains, it looks like it sets. I'm going to zoom in. Look at this line. This is a level line. This is level, but you see it as going down due to perspective. Now I'm going to compare this to a real sunset.
Wait, stop.
Hold on.
No,
real
let
sunset.
him keep going. Let him keep
real
going.
sunset. Dave. My fake sunset. Sunset, look, there's the horizon. What's it going behind here? This is called the atmospheric deck of opacity. And that's how we see the sun, right? Look, it does the exact same thing. It's just going away. And it looks like it's going down just like this line looks like it's going down, but it's level, as you can see. All right, go ahead. Sorry, I just
No, don't be
didn't want
sorry.
to have to repeat it.
There's too many
Okay,
questions coming out
I think we should
anyways.
probably start thinking about setting up some calls. But my question was, okay, then that video presentation that you just made with whoever it was moving that lit ball, what perspective?
That's me.
Okay.
Come on.
Where's
My
the
flat Earth kitchen.
Where's the camera in relation? Can you show me in that where the camera was?
So the camera is on the counter. So here's the top of those bottles. It's sitting right on the counter. So like a person standing on the earth looking up at the sun.
Mm-hmm.
The other camera was up here on the microwave, right? And at the same level of the as the line. So
Right.
this is what we see. It looks like it's going down, but that's a level line. That's how when we see the sun go down, it's just going away. It's due to perspective. And look, you think this is the horizon. It's just the limit of your eyesight. This is where the atmosphere gets too thick and it blocks the sun. And everyone thinks it's the horizon. It's just going beyond it.
I'm sorry, I can't be with you on that.
Well,
Well, you don't have to be.
Well,
I am.
here's a question I have, is that so far we've produced all this evidence and all this documentation, everything like that. I'm wondering what globe Dave has besides a ball.
This isn't about.
What document? I mean, if we're comparing
Kelly doesn't want to
documentation and
debate.
notes,
We want to.
it's not
Okay.
debate. I mean, we're bringing everything we've had possible, but there's nothing being brought from the other side. You understand what I'm saying? There's nothing being brought from his side that he is proving that it's a spinning ball.
I know, but he
There's
has
nothing-
made some points about where his perspective is coming from. But I honestly would like a little bit more data and information on what David has, because we also still have some questions we need to get to, and we honestly haven't been as thorough as I'd hoped we'd be in the first hour. But that's because of the commentary.
All right. Can I show another thing, or you want to ask a specific question?
I would like you to keep
Oh,
showing
geez.
some more things, please.
Okay. So in the helio-nonsensical system, which I call it, the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. It's orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles an hour. Fascinating number. It's chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour. And that entire system's moving sideways at 1.2, give or take, million miles per hour. So you have all of these different motions, but somehow if you go out tonight and look at the stars, and then a year from now, go out and look at the stars, they're in the exact same position at the exact same time. Right? We're traveling billions and billions of miles in 4 different directions where all the other stars are moving around like a crazy beehive, but somehow they're all mirroring the motions of the Earth. Do you know about the Georgia Guidestones?
Mm-hmm.
I think you mentioned that. That's what you mentioned the other day. That's why I brought
Yeah.
this up. The center stone has this little hole. It's like the thickness, like a quarter-inch hole. And if you look through it, the Georgia Guidestones have been up for 40 years. If you look through it, the North Star is there. Do a time lapse,
interesting.
all the stars spin around it. Okay. We're twirling, whirling, and swirling in 4 different directions at once, traveling billions of miles. But for 40 plus years, the North Star has never moved from that hole a fraction of an inch. How is that possible?
That's quite intriguing.
Yeah.
See,
That
I learned
one's
something new
that
today.
one's a mind bender right
That one
there.
really is.
So, Dave, do you ever hear of the 3-body problem? So
I've had 3 body problems, but
so the we're told that, here's the sun and it's holding onto the earth and the earth is going around and the earth is just falling around the sun. Let's forget all of the other motions that are going on. It's going around the sun. But then out here we have Mars. The sun's holding onto Mars. And then farther out we have Jupiter and Saturn and all the other planets. It's holding onto them. But somehow the earth is holding onto its own moon. And Mars is holding on to its moons, and Jupiter's holding on to 4 moons or whatever, right? And there's all of these bodies out there, and somehow their gravity never affects each other. The sun only likes holding on to planets, and the planets only like holding on to moons. And when we have an alignment, nothing gets yanked out of place. Mm-hmm. So here's the 3-body problem. Why is it when the moon comes around the far side of the earth heading towards the sun, why doesn't it speed up? And when it goes away back around, why doesn't it slow down? Why doesn't sun gravity speed it up and slow it down? Why doesn't the sun rip it away and go, you're coming into my orbit now, right? The sun gravity doesn't like moons. It only likes planets. So here's the 3-body problem. You can take the world's best supercomputer. You can model and say, all right, I got a sun. It's got this much gravity, this size. And then I got a planet, and I put them into orbit. It's got this much gravity, and it works like a fine watch piece. Tomorrow we'll know where it's going to be. In a week, in 100 years, we know exactly where it's going to be. Then, remember, world's best supercomputer. We add one more body, a moon or another planet orbiting either one of those bodies, and the entire thing goes into chaos mode and never repeats. Gravity is a lie, right? This is up for me. Jason, point up. Which way is up? Kelly, which way is up? Up. Down, everybody? Down is down. Now, if I was in Australia, this is not down. This is down. Because the earth is a plane. Down is down for everybody. Up is up for everybody. East and west are circles, right? Left and right, forward and back are relative to the way you're facing. Here's the other thing you brought up the other day. Why do we see different stars? Okay, why is Orion upside down in the south versus the north? Dave, imagine you and I are in a room with 10-foot high ceilings, recessed lighting, and those recessed lights are the stars, okay? Now I'm going to expand that room to the size of a city, make it 10 miles wide, okay? And I'm going to send you 5 miles away from me. Well, 5 miles away, 10-foot ceiling, your eyes will put them together, and you can't see that far. The whole thing will merge. Like you've been to Vegas, at a Vegas hotel, the ceiling almost touches the floor at the other end of at some of those hotels, right? 5 miles away is way more. That space will be compressed. Your eyes won't be able to see anything. We both look up. Are we looking at the same stars? Absolutely not. We're looking at completely different stars. If I put a 6 in the middle of my ceiling and stood over there and looked at that 6, and I would call that the inner north, and I sent you to the south, the other side of my room, then you look at that 6, what are you going to see? A 9. That's why it's upside down. Same thing with the shadows that you brought up. Same concept. Flat earth. Everything we see is close and small and circling around us. My autofocus on my camera. Ooh, I'm a ghost. Hello. I don't know. Come on. Go. Come on. This is, oh, there we go.
There you are.
So, new information, lots to process. Make sure you drink water while you're thinking about this stuff. All right. There you go.
No.
All right. Let's talk about the distances. This is one of my favorites. All right. The distances and size of planets is the.
I tell you what. Time. Look, we've gone past the top of the hour. I need to take a quick break because I was drinking this stuff. Okay.
Right.
Can we do that and maybe line up some calls? That way the callers are sitting there. They're chomping at the bit. I'm
let's
looking
take some calls. That's fine.
Okay.
Go ahead.
While
Okay,
Dave's
can-
away,
can
let's
I
remind
just-
everybody who's
can-
running the show.
Okay.
I'll say when we
Can
do
I-
some calls.
Can I just ask one thing? Dave had that map, and it had the winds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you bring that? Can you bring that up one more time?
That was a
Yeah.
great map. Something I hadn't
Okay,
thought about. That was
because
fantastic.
It's on the app, by the way.
okay, this is where Daddy comes into play. He's been telling us the whole time.
Hold on. Map. Here we go. So on the app, the middle left button is the weather map. Then you pop
Okay.
up the little menu and you hit the 10 HPA because they don't give us feet. They give us HPA, whatever that is. So I think that's 40 or 45,000 feet.
Okay.
Okay, right here. Now, President Trump always has that quote: "In 1,000 years, only two things never change. You're always going to have walls,
The wheels.
and you're always going to have wheels."
Wheels spinning.
Right there.
Yeah.
The wheels
That's it, right
in the
there.
sky keep on turning.
Yeah.
See the wheels?
Yeah.
The other. They're spinning counter. They're spinning counteractive. The inner one is spinning clockwise. The outer one is spinning counterclockwise. You're always gonna have wheels, and you're always gonna have walls.
Yeah.
And you can tell the ice walls and everything like that. It's just, I mean, there's so many clues that they've given us. It's, I
The
mean,
wheels in the sky keep on turning. This is showing the sun. Now, again, this isn't the scale or speed, but the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer here. It's moving out to the Tropic of Capricorn. and it goes around, and the moon does the same thing, but it does it not every 6 months, every 14 days. And when they hit at a nodal point, they pass each other, and that's when you have an eclipse.
Right.
Did you know that eclipses repeat every 18 years? They're on a cycle. Remember the 3-body problem? How is it that nothing ever gets out of sync and we have all the same eclipses just in different places every 18 years? They repeat on a perfect schedule like a fine watch.
Yeah. Because even if like one ball hits say this ball is doing its thing, if it gets hit by another ball, it's going to change its trajectory.
What about just going by? Like we had that lineup in last December with all the planets. How come that gravity didn't just tug on something a little bit? Just tug on it a little bit, right? But everything repeats again and again and again for in eternity. The people, there's many pyramids around the world that line up with stars. They never change. Mm-hmm. Although we're told we had a different North Star 40,000 years ago. And then in 40,000 years, from now it's going to be Thuban. And you know what I say to that is, cool story, bro.
I love when you pop those on. That's really fun.
Oh my God, that's great. I love it.
Well, why don't we go ahead, since we do have some callers lined up, let's take 1 or 2 callers and just kind of see where things are rolling with it. Now, callers, please remember, please have your question ready. You can say your name and where you're from if you'd like. You don't have to give any last names. You don't have to say your name or where you're from if you don't want to. But we would like if you would say your name and where you're from and just ask your question, and then realize I'm going to then hang up and listen to the question, because that way we can get through everybody. So. All right, so the first caller I am taking is from area code 904, and there only seems to be one 904 on here. So can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I can.
Fantastic. Gentlemen,
And we
can
can hear you.
Oh, wow.
That's what we wanted to hear. Go ahead and ask your question.
I am so blessed to be able to get on here. I was actually saying prayers because I believe the information I have is very pertinent to this, to what you guys got going on. Hats off to you.
Well, fantastic. Go ahead and give it to us. What do you got?
My name is Rick. I'm from Florida.
Hi, Rick.
And I was with the military in some aspect for a total of 32 years. So I've been around. I've seen some things. I've been to the top of Mount Fuji. I can tell you, it's straight. When you look out left, right, it don't matter where. The sun is coming at you. It's not rising. It's just getting closer. I agree with you, Jason. In the Hawaiian Gazette, in January 1907, on the front page, is a picture, and the title says, "Was this world map made 10 centuries ago?" In the center of it is very much like the UN flag and the maritime flag and all these other flags that show in plain sight the plane, the flat Earth. On this particular map, it shows an outer circle around the outer edges of Africa and Australia and South America. And oddly enough, and beyond that, there are more land masses, huge ones, inside a giant square. That's what this map is showing, an ancient map. Now, in 1958, Encyclopedia Americana was published, and it got put out on all the schools, on the library shelves, and then they were yanked down, and a giant globe, I still have my picture from the 5th grade, school picture, a giant globe was placed in everybody's classroom. Mm-hmm. Now, inside this encyclopedia, and I'm going to read it word for word, this was Operation High Jump, jumping high across that wall that Jason's talking about, ice walls. And it says here, come back here, 4 United States planes flew from New Zealand to McMurdo Sound on December 20th, 1955, and made exploratory flights over unknown parts of the continent until January 18th, 1956, when they returned to New Zealand. These flights proved the inland areas to be featureless in character, with a dome, D-O-M-E, 13,000 feet high at about latitude 80 south, longitude 90 east. There you go. Boom. Now, when you look at a rainbow, what do you see? A giant arch. That is a reflection of the dome, the firmament. that firmament, have you seen if the Earth is a square, like this ancient map showed, with the four foundations that we read about in the old
Like
scriptures?
the 4 pillars.
Then, if that's the case, then how do you put a dome over a square? Simple. Look at the old roofs people used to have, the skylights. They were square with a dome. Boom. Now, I have been on flights and flights and flights. I've been to 9 countries and 20 states. And I had a first-class seat on Emirates Airline going from Dubai to Philippines. And I'm flying over all of these skyscrapers. I thought, where in the world am I? I'm looking at the screen, and there's a big arc. They don't want you to know where you're going. They want you to think the world is round. So they throw an arc, so you never know where you're at. They make you turn your GPS off, your phone, so you don't know where you're at. So I'm flying, and I see all these skyscrapers, thousands of them, not hundreds. And I thought, where am I? And I just happened to see the stewardess come by, and I asked her. She says, Hong Kong. And I said, oh. Now, from memory, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going from Dubai to the Philippines. I should be over the Indian Ocean, not nowhere near Hong Kong. So you had to ask yourself these questions. How come you can't go directly from Australia to South America or South America to Australia? How come all the flights and the stopovers are in the United States before you can get to either one? Because if you look at the flat Earth map, it's almost a direct, straight line.
Right.
And they do try to stay close to the coastlines as much as possible when they fly. I just thought I would throw this in, mix in the pot. The debate is great. I'm with you, Kelly. Let's get as much of this information out as possible that are facts. And then you weigh them out in your own head.
Yeah. We're not here to debate
and it'll
this
make
on
sense
here.
in time if it don't make sense now.
Yeah, we're here to get the information out, not to debate on here. I greatly appreciate you calling, Rick. Definitely watch the show. Call in again on other subject lines. We greatly apciate it. And I'm going to get to the next caller.
Thank you.
Kelly, let me show you one quick thing. And Dave, you might want to see this.
May the force of Q be with you.
So if Antarctica was at the bottom of the ball, it would be, it's 13,000 miles around. So you can just take a boat around Antarctica, 13,000 miles, and that would prove it. Because if the Antarctica was, what we say, it would be much longer, right? It would, the equator is in the middle here, right? And that's 24,000 miles around. Well, the last person to do it was Captain Cook. And it took him over 3.5 years, and he went over 60,000 miles. And this is the path that he took. That was him trying to go around Antarctica. He went 60,000 miles. Took him 3.5 years.
Wow.
And the last thing I forgot to show you. So the Arctic and the Antarctic. So if you were in the Arctic, what would you say that? Can you guys see the map?
There we go.
So if you were in the Arctic,
it went
right in the middle here, what's the sun doing? It's arcing around you, right? The Arctic, it's arcing around you. If you were out here in the Antarctic, what's the sun doing? It's antarcing away from you. In the Arctic, it arcs around you, and in the Antarctic, it arcs away from you. It antarcs.
I'm not quite understanding that, but go ahead.
Arcing around you versus if I'm on the outside of that circle, it's antarcing away from me. It never goes around me. It just arcs away from me.
Now remember, we'll have more discussion time after we're done with callers.
All right, next caller.
This one is from the Las Vegas, Nevada area, 702. Area code 702. We are picking you up as soon as it goes through. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's your name?
My name's Alan.
Hi, Alan. Thanks for calling. What's your question?
Give you guys a little test that you all can do, basically replicating the sun. So all you need is a light source, like a flashlight, a backdrop, and then an object. Can you all get that? I can't. I'm not watching the.
We can't grab it right now.
Dave.
So what are you trying to say, that to replicate the sun?
Yeah, what I'm saying here is, if you have a light source, an object, and a backdrop, you can take the object, put it out in front of the backdrop, say it's a wall, a foot off the wall or something, and then take your source light a foot away from that object and shine the light on the object to cast a shadow on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Simple stuff. So if that light is the sun, and you take it and you, if the sun sets, if it drops, if it goes below the horizon, do that with your light, then that shadow will climb up the wall. But here, in our reality, that doesn't happen. You can go out to a mountain off the coast of the water or flat plain or something and perform the same test. Very simple.
What's the point?
So my point is that would happen on a flat Earth, not on a globe. Just model it. It's real simple.
Mm-hmm.
Object, light, backdrop.
Right.
Go out in reality and do the same thing. There's all the proof you need.
Well, thank you very much.
In our reality, when you go out and test that, that shadow does not climb higher than the object, proving the sun isn't going below. Very simple.
Yeah, so Dave, if you're on a cliff like in Machu Picchu or Denver or whatever, and you're watching the sunset, never ever will a sun ray hit the ceiling of the room that you're in, ever, no matter how high you are, top of Everest, and not that there's any houses on top of Everest. If your ceiling is level with down, the sun ray, as it sets, will never hit the ceiling. Never happened.
Right. That was a good one. That was a good
On a ball Earth, it would.
Philosophies.
On a ball Earth, it would.
Not necessarily, no.
If you're on the top of a high mountain and the sun is setting below you,
right,
that sun ray should hit the ceiling right around close to sunset. It should hit the ceiling when it's going around. It's dropping down around a ball, but it never has a sun ray hit a ceiling ever.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
That's a good thought. Let's bring up another one. Area code 951.
It wouldn't hit the ceiling even if it was a ball either.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, it would. That makes a lot of sense. That makes
It
a lot
would.
of sense. Hi, caller. Thanks for calling in. What's your name?
My name is John, and I'm from Texas.
Hi, John. Thanks for calling in. What question do you have today?
Okay, I have a question. I looked this up. The Nile River is like the longest river in the world. It starts at the equator at Lake Victoria on the Blue Nile or something, or White Nile, whatever. And so it ends at Egypt at the Mediterranean Sea in the northern hemisphere. So how do you walk uphill, because all rivers flow downhill, how do you walk uphill for 4,000 miles going south and you ever reach the equator on a ball Earth? That's my question.
You can't.
Does that answer the question? Is that what we're doing here?
Yes, that actually answers it.
You'll never leave the northern hemisphere. You can never leave the northern hemisphere because you're higher in elevation than Egypt. Welcome to the flat Earth.
Well, thank you very much for calling. Oh, and we lost
Thank
him.
you.
All right. I'm loving this. This is fun. Area code 778 is next who I'm going to bring on. Area code 778. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello. Thank you for calling. What's your name?
My name is Andrew.
Hi, Andrew. Thanks for calling. What's your question?
So I'm on the west coast of Canada here, just above Seattle. So here's a little experiment that anyone can do. I have a $1,500 telescope, 12-inch diameter, about 4 feet long. And we're right on the ocean. And across the ocean, about 7 miles away, we have an island. And so what I do is I set up, well, first of all, I am a stargazer, mainly planets and everything, but now, I have a different opinion. But anyways, it's fun. So what I do is I set my telescope on the ground, and I point it at the island about 7 miles away. And now, with the curvature of the Earth, According to the charts, science and math, in 1 mile, there should be a 0.666, go figure, right? 0.666 drop in the horizon after 1 mile. After 2 miles, it's 2.667 drop. So what this means is that in 7 miles distance, when I'm looking right at that island, there should be a drop of 32 feet, 32.67 feet. And what that means is I should be able to see halfway up a tall tree, okay, and nothing below it because it's below the horizon. So when I focus on that island, I see directly across right to the beach, and I can see the waves breaking. Now, according to science, math, geometry, that is impossible on a globe Earth because of the drop of 32.67 feet. I should not be able to see that beach or people or waves breaking. I should be seeing halfway up the tree. The further I go, the higher in the tree I see and nothing below until that tree disappears. So that's visual proof. So I would just encourage Dave V, if you wanted to, go out and buy yourself a high-power telescope, find a body of water that's a fair distance to the other side, and set it up at sea level, and then look across, and you should see right at the base of the land on the other side. That's all I have to say, really. It's really easy to do. You could see it with your own eyes. And you guys are all great. Dave, I know that you're having a bit of a hard time, but you know what? I respect you, and I respect all of you.
So is he saying that when you look across the water, you can't see the very bottoms of things? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, that he can.
No. When I look across, I see the bottom of the island. I see right at the waves breaking 7 miles away.
Yeah,
and
impossible.
That's impossible on a globe. So therefore, it is flat.
Interesting.
Okay, let me ask you. You say it's 7 miles away, and did I hear you correctly and say that the curve, if it was a globe, it would have dropped 32 feet? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Over
if it
7
was
miles.
On a globe with a radius of 3,959 miles, the curvature of the Earth, the horizon would drop, the island would drop 32.67 feet.
And that's only 7 miles away. I think
Correct.
your calculations have to be way off.
I used to think the same thing, but it's correct. The curvature formula is 8 inches per mile squared. Now this only works for the first 1,000 or so miles because it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you said 8 inches per mile. He said
squared,
7 miles
per mile squared, because 8 inches per mile is a ramp. We don't live on a tilted Earth. We lived on a ball where as you go over, it increases. So every mile, the drop is more than the mile before. So 1 mile is 8 inches. 2 miles is 2 times 2 is 4 times 8 is 32 inches. 3 miles is 6 feet. 10 miles is 66 feet. 100 miles is 66,600
That
feet.
doesn't make sense to me. You're describing a spiral. And you're telling me that as you go farther, the curve goes, it starts like this and then starts going like this. And
if I go out here, the drop is this much.
Right.
But if I double that distance, the drop is this much.
Right. It would be double the distance.
It's not a ramp. You have to square the miles. Again, we don't need to argue this. Just go check out this is the globe formula, not the flat Earth formula.
Right.
Globe math. Math says this. But even if, some globers will say, well, that's 6,000 feet of curvature. You have to split it because, you're looking over, it's only half of that. Okay, let's make it half of that. Let's put everything in the globe's favor. We can still see too far. Instead of 6,000 feet, you have 3,000 feet of a hump of water. 3,000 feet. That's a 300-story building. Okay,
doesn't make sense to me. Not at all.
Right, it doesn't. The Earth is flat.
The numbers just don't equate. I mean, there's no way that I could see that a curvature would be 32 feet over a mere 7 miles. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Define level, Dave.
Flat.
Okay. Now
I'll use that word.
Okay. Now
what you could do,
define
Dave,
sea
is
level.
you could actually look at it this way. if you're standing next to a building, right next to a building, and it's a 10-story building, and you start driving away from it. Now, because of the curvature, as you're driving away, the building is getting smaller and smaller, but also what happens? The bottom floor disappears because it's going on the curvature of the earth. And then as you go further away, now the second floor is missing, the third floor is missing. Now, my example was, if you set up a telescope and you're far away where you can only see the top 3 floors left because the rest is down below the horizon. My point is that when you set up a telescope, you're actually going to see all the floors from the basement up. And that's the example that I gave, only I'm looking at a beach. But if it was a building, I would see the base of that building, even if it was like, say, a 10-foot differential instead of 66 over 7 miles. But even if it was a 10-foot differential, I still wouldn't be able to see the waves breaking unless it was a flat earth. And that's why I'm saying it's a flat earth, because I could see that distance. I could see the waves breaking. I could see the people on the beach, and you shouldn't be able to. So I'm going to leave it at that because of other callers with respect, right?
Thank you. Hey, let me just address that. So here's a building that Globers will say is hidden. The bottom floors are hidden behind the curvature, but there's an optical effect. All of these balconies are the same height, but as we get down lower and we're looking through thicker and thicker atmosphere, they start to compress, and they compress to where there's several stories right here compress. On top of that, because the horizon is rising to your eye level, the waves out here, tiny little waves, a wave a millimeter above your eye level will block out an entire city. Okay. So the waves are blocking because the building is getting smaller and smaller because it's farther away, but I call it the wave front edge.
So
right?
what happens to the building once you eventually that building is going to disappear below the horizon the farther away you go?
No one. It's just going to get smaller and smaller and smaller until you can't see it. Just like this. There's nothing on this horizon. You can't see a boat because it's too small. But as we zoom in, all of a sudden, what's that? That's a boat. Now, a Glober would say it went over the horizon. So let's zoom in on this boat all the way. Then I'm going to zoom out, which is equivalent to the boat going away. Watch the side of the boat. It's going to disappear from the bottom up because of the wave front edge and because it's getting smaller and smaller. You can't see it. It's up to the window. It's up to the top. And now the boat is gone, but it's not over the horizon. It's just out of your ability to see it. It's how your eyes work. It's how perspective works.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I understand that.
All right.
Okay. I'm just curious to know like why we can't see Mount Everest. Or
I already showed you that. I already showed you that because the light bouncing off of Mount Canigou at just 175 miles away is not bright enough to push through the atmosphere. Only when the brighter light backlights it. And then I also showed you with my sun fade out video that the sun itself can't even push through. The sun itself fades out. It fades away because it can't even push through. By the way, when I watch the sun fade out, I'm filming this from my house. I'm 3 miles from the beach. My friends were down at the beach. They saw the sunset from the bottom up 10 minutes earlier. They saw the sun set like this. Okay. And it's all due to perspective. All right, go ahead. Next caller.
All right, caller. We have 703 on the phone.
Hello.
Hello. What's your name? What's your question?
Hey, it's a chili man.
Oh, hi, chili man.
Listen, good. How about you said about the continents? Let's say flat and the wheels, like you showed in that map. I've never seen that map before, but I thought there was 33 continents because I did see that that old map from Japan. I think that was smuggled and it came out, I think, in Hawaii somewhere, and it showed 33 continents. And Bird went down there, and I think he said that there was a huge landmass bigger than North America, and it showed it also on that map that JFK, I think I saw online not too long ago that Jason showed, where it was behind him, and there's a huge landmass like beyond, and I mean, there's no doubt that it's flat. I'm actually just more interested what's beyond the wall.
I agree. Let's bring up those subjects. I really appreciate you calling in, and I sent you an email today. I don't know if you saw it or not, or maybe I either way.
No, I haven't gotten it.
Okay.
Oh, and I forgot to tell you that my uncle got he got a Neptune Award because they went down there like in the 1950s, but they all got stuck. His ship, the British ship, and another ship, they hit some invisible object, and they grounded for so long, and after a while, they got pushed backwards, and the ships went back 5 times faster than they're designed to. And then they were boarded by Hueys and told never to talk about it.
Interesting.
So please, Dave, tell us what you know beyond the wall.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I completely agree.
I'm not
Thank
allowed
you.
to tell. I'm
You're
not allowed to say.
Oh, come on. You got to get into something here.
I actually don't know of that story. But again, even though a lot of the stories that I hear of what's beyond the ice shoreline, it's not the ice wall. A lot of what I hear about that is fits with my belief, but I don't have any proof of it. So I really, I could tell the story, but it's speculation. People, the Globers say, show me a picture of your ice wall, right? If the Earth is a certain flat, where's the ice wall? Well, here's the ice wall. It's not an ice wall. It's the ice shoreline. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. It's frozen because the sun never gets far enough out there to melt it. So it's circling around, and it's perpetual winter out here. The coldest temperatures in the world, like the top 15 or 14 out of the top 15 coldest temperatures, are all in Antarctica during their winter. Well, how is that possible? We would have the coldest winter in the Arctic because we're 3 million miles farther away from the sun. The coldest temperatures should be in the Arctic, but they're in the Antarctic.
Interesting. And what about the 33 continents that's been discussed many times, that are out beyond the ice shelf, we'll call it. Like you were showing in that other map. Yeah. So can you bring that up and just kind of your philosophy on that, please?
Well, my philosophy is they're hiding more land. Why the lie? And the lie is for a couple of reasons. One, just to keep us slaves, to hide the creator, to make us think that we're useless, worthless, meaningless, that we're on a random speck flying through an infinite universe, and that they're to keep us caged in. They have us caged in, and we don't see the cage because we believe we live on a ball. There's a story called The Iron Republic. You can get the book, or there's a reading on it by John the Morgile on YouTube, and it's about some people that went to Antarctica in the 1800s. I think it was a senator, and he found a hole, and he went through, and he came out in the ocean. He was lost for a month, and then he came across this land. A boat came out to greet them. They're like, "You're welcome. They're like, "Where are we?" They're like, "This is the Iron Republic." And this was this is the Iron Republic. And he said, "We're on the other side of the ice wall, about the same distance that America is from you." They went in, and they told stories about technology that we're just getting today: flat screens, electric cars, floating things, all sorts of crazy stuff. And the story was that the people that live out there used to live in here in the 1600s, but they didn't like the tyranny that was going on. Imagine that, tyranny. And they split, and they picked up and they moved away and started a new civilization out here. That's a great story, right? It resonates with me. Do I have proof of it? No, but the story is miraculous.
Well, I know that they have been pulling some areas off of the map because on, some of the 1800s, 1700s, and even back into the 1500s, what they have up north of, near the Greenland, Europe area, there are some islands that all of a sudden weren't on the newer maps that used to be there beforehand, and why remove a piece of land that was there? Why change the philosophy of saying that island is or is not there anymore? What relevance does that do to help benefit anybody except for be deceitful?
Yeah, why are no planes allowed to fly over the North Pole? What's going on there? There could be a totally, other thing happening in the North. I think the North Pole is as interesting as Antarctica, the outer lands of Antarctica. For those of you that, I showed my app. It's called the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. If you try to Google Flat Earth, you're going to get all globe propaganda. You're going to get nonsense. You're going to get Flat Earth Society. You're going to, if you Google top 10 reasons why the Earth might be flat, you're going to get a video that's top 10 reasons that the Earth is a globe. Google doesn't want you to know this, right? They're hiding this from you. So my app will bring you to all of the best videos and stuff. Tomorrow, I believe I have it scheduled tomorrow. I've got a video going up about how the size of the continents are wrong, especially South America. South America is a lot fatter than they tell us. And there's really no way easy for people to figure that out. So here's the challenge I have for you, Dave. I'm offering a Bitcoin for one proof of the globe. And so every day there's a new video down here. You just click this thumbnail, up comes a new video. But I say, watch the video every day for 2 weeks. After that 2 weeks, if you think the earth is a globe, send me one proof. But before you do, you have to hit this question mark. And when you hit that question mark, up comes, hey, what about gravity? You know, what about eclipses, right? If I click what about eclipses, up comes a playlist that YouTube will not serve you. These are videos that show you eclipses are not as described, right? All of this information is hidden on Google, right? App does a ton of other things, as you saw, but you know,
hey, real quick
shows you
about
how
that
a
app.
real compass works.
If I share the picture of your app on like our different platforms, will they be able to use that same QR square to be able to get it?
So the QR code, the QR code, if you just point your camera at it, it'll pull it up for Android and iPhone. But it's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Long name, I know it. But again, the Flat Earth Society Globe Trolls have created an app by the same name. I think it's 99 cents or free. If you get that app, don't send me an email telling me my app sucks, because it's not my app. You can tell my app, one, because it's by Blue Water Bay, and two, it's the highest rated app in the App Store. Try that. Try that, putting up something that's garbage. Doesn't work. Highest rated app in the App Store.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Absolutely.
Google Play. And Google Play, you need Android 8.0 or higher, and iPhone, you need an iPhone 6 or better.
Okay.
Okay, do we have any more callers?
I have a massive amount.
Well,
Seriously
let's,
massive. So let's see if we can run through a couple more of those. Now, callers, if you're listening right now, please, we're just going to, it is not going to be, here's my philosophy on something. This needs to be a question. Have a quick question so we can get through these, okay? If I've got like 30 people and I've got 20 minutes, we got to start busting, okay? So let's make it happen. Area code 918. In just a moment. Okay, area code 918, you're live. What's your name and state your question, please?
My name is Chris. I'm from Oklahoma.
Hi, Chris.
Hi. I just had some questions for Dave, the one who believes in the globe. There's all these experiments being done, and you have to compare, like, I guess, the scientists, you know. So if you have, like, I'm sure you're aware of, like, Albert Michelson, Edward Morley, George Airy, and George Sagnac and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, these are all experiments that failed to prove curvature or axial rotation.
Yes, there's an experiment known as Airy's failure, which is something that I was like, okay, no, this has kind of turned me on to the flat Earth, which I'm definitely a flat earther, not stupid. So since it failed to prove heliocentricity, it involved filling like a telescope with water to slow the speed of light inside, and usually telescopes must be slightly tilted to get starlight down the axis of the tube, supposedly due to Earth's speed around the sun. And Airy's discovered that actually the starlight was already coming in at the correct angle, so no change was necessary. And this demonstrated that the stars move relative to a stationary Earth. So, I mean, I think it just is which scientists you want to follow and which ones are telling the truth. And if you actually look at the scientists who are telling the truth, they're being completely ignored. So that's kind of a red flag.
So what's your question?
To just be able to state that there's a lots of great experiments out there that people can look at and find the truth. And it's so obvious once you see it. But that's it. I won't take any more time.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for the call.
Well, thank you for calling. Let's go to the next one. Area code 785. Area code 785.
Yes.
Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Oh, my name is Chris. I'm from Kansas here.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for calling.
Just a couple of things for David Weiss. If he could show people, I've been a flat earther probably for many, many years, but outside of that, if David could show like the inverse square law of light and what stars actually look like for people who are not sure of any of that information, or if he could talk about maybe the candle power that as he goes into the explanation of moonlight and how that would supposedly it's not sufficient to light the Earth and how the moon actually lights itself, or some other generic simple topics that maybe he could just do like a speed run. I'm sorry for the frustration that you're all having.
No, it's all good. We're doing all right. But yeah, Dave,
I got it.
us.
Let me hit those topics real quick. All right, I'll do it in 30 seconds.
And
this is what stars look like.
Dave, thank you very
with
much.
using our consumer optics now. With Dave's gone. So
he'll watch the
now I'm not interested in talking. I hate talking to flat earthers. Everybody, I just want to talk to Globers. All right. But here's the funny thing. I have a team of trolls that follow me. Like, your comments are going to be filled with these trolls that'll comment on everyone's comment, but go to their channel. They have zero content on their channel, 0 videos, 0 subs, right? They just follow me everywhere. Okay. And the problem is they never come up with a proof of the globe. So the inverse square law of light says, they don't teach us this in school, every time you double the distance to a light, it gets 1/4 the brightness. 1/4. So if you half the distance to a light, it gets 4 times brighter. So if you're sitting on Earth and you're reading a book in the middle of nowhere by the moonlight, which you can do on a clear night, moon's bright enough to read by. Let's assume the moon is 1 lumen, because I'm going to give the globe every benefit. It's probably more like 15 lumens, but 1. Halfway to the moon, 4 lumens. Cut that in half, 16 lumens. Cut that in half, 64 lumens. When you get to about 100 miles from the moon, it's over 10 million lumens. Do you know what 10 million lumens does? It melts your face. Okay. So how is this dusty, dirty ball reflecting light 238,000 miles away where I can read and navigate by it? Sorry, it doesn't work at all.
I got to be honest, this was a big one for me too, because you also then try and take into the concept of, well, like the sun is somehow reflecting that image back on us. But how is there sunlight on the moon in the picture aspect that what you have, but also how is the moon itself emitting light?
How is this?
Yeah.
That bright?
Yeah.
238,000 miles away. This would have to be 10 million lumens to look that bright. Okay. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Do I have?
By the way, I just wanted to let you know somebody was knocking at my door. I wasn't running away because I was disgusted or turned off.
I know you were running away. You're scared.
Okay, so just don't put that idea in the listener's mind. Oh, Dave didn't like what he was hearing, so he went away.
Nobody would ever say that, Dave. You're being a good sport, and we were you.
Jason's laughing at me over there.
Jason laughs at everybody, though.
I've been laughing since 6 o'clock.
Yeah, you've been laughing since the subject came up weeks ago.
Dave?
Months ago.
All right. Want to take another call, or I can go into another topic?
Let's go to the callers. Let's keep them rolling.
Why don't we talk about the large area pulse solar simulator? Why would they have a patent for it? In order to have a patent, in order to have a patent for something, wouldn't you need to display that it works?
Well, I do actually am hoping that we can go past the 2-hour time frame, but I only have blog talk for 12 more minutes. Are you good with that, David? Sincerely?
Yeah. So finish the calls and then we'll keep going.
The blog talk and the callers, they're gone in 12 minutes, and I can't extend it any further. So
all right, hit it. Everyone, get right to the point. Throw your question out right away.
All right, we're going to go like gangbusters. Area code 432. Can you hear us? What's your name and what's your question? Hello?
Hello?
Hello. What's your name and your question, please?
Yeah, my name is Michael, and I just want to know, me and my son's been talking about this. How can you explain it clearly and plainly how the eclipses happen on a flat Earth?
Not in the amount of time that we have, but if you go into my app and you click eclipses, they make perfect sense. But afterwards, we can bring that topic up after the calls are gone. But if you go into what about eclipses on the app, there's a whole bunch of videos that explain it. The one thing that we know for sure is that it's not the Earth that causes the lunar eclipse, because many times we see the sun and the moon above the Earth and the eclipse comes in from the top. That's impossible if it was the Earth doing it.
Good point. That's a really good point. Okay, caller, area code 631. You're on live with us. What's your name and your question? Hello.
Hi, my name's Gary from New York.
Hi, Gary. Thanks for calling.
I just have a quick question for David Weiss. Hi, David. As the sun is going around the Earth, from going south, going from the Tropic of Cancer towards the Tropic of Capricorn, wouldn't it pick up speed as it's gaining a larger circle?
100%. And the reason is the sun that we see is not a giant burning ball of hydrogen that weighs, quadrillions of tons. It's a point of energy that we see. And the one way that you can prove that it is going faster, certain times of the year when you're in South Africa and other places at equal latitudes, when the sun sets, from the time it sets till pitch black is like 5 minutes. That never happens in the north, right? And that's because the sun is going faster and it's going away from them. It's going away. In the north, it's arcing around us, okay? And like we have sunset and 90 minutes later, it's still light, right? In certain places in the south, when the sun is out towards Capricorn, pitch black in 5 minutes.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Appreciate it. Okay, area code 520. Area code 520.
Hello.
Hello. What's your name and what's your question?
Hello. Yeah, I'm Curtis. I'm from Arizona.
Hi, Curtis. Thanks for calling.
Okay, say you were on the southern hemisphere and you got a magnetic compass, and your magnetic compass is trying to find magnetic north. Would it be pointing down into the water if you were on a boat? Or would it be? Or how would you find north if you weren't on a plane holding your compass level?
Agreed. And the globe answer to that is that the gravity waves wrap around the ball, right? But you can never reproduce that. It doesn't happen. If you want to really see how a compass works, all you got to do is just draw a circle on a table, put down a magnet in the center, and then put your compass down. And when you try to push it 270 degrees west, you realize that you have to turn in a circle. Okay. No matter where you put this, the needle will point towards the north. But you can't do it on a ball.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't work.
No, you can't do it on a ball. I was just saying, I was just trying to give an example. If you were on the southern hemisphere, the compass would actually hit the bottom of the
it would
face
point
of the
to the ground. You're right.
Trying to get the magnetic north.
But it doesn't. It would also point towards the South Pole. It would also point towards the South Pole, but it doesn't.
Well, the South Pole is magnetic. It's a bubble.
They tell us that we have a North Pole and a South Pole, and they're magnetic. You should have compasses that point towards the South Pole. Any straight line
that'd be a
heads
different type
south.
Of compass I've ever seen.
I really like what you're showing.
That was my question. Wouldn't it hit the face of the compass?
I agree. It would, and it doesn't. Earth is flat.
Okay. Because it's always trying to find magnetic north.
Right.
Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted. I just want to give that example out. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Hey, Dave, can you bring up that and talk for a moment so you get brought on speaker view so it's a little bigger? I want to see.
So this is we got our magnetic north. We have our magnet. I have a magnet right here, and my compass. I'm pushing it dead west, dead reckoning west, but I have to keep turning because the needle always has to point towards the center. So when you head east, like I can leave and head east, and as long as I keep heading 90 degrees, I'll come right back to where I started from. I think I'm going in a straight line, but I'm not. I'm not going around a globe. I'm going around a flat earth. But if I try to dead reckon west, so here's dead reckoning west, if I don't correct to the north, immediately I'm heading south. South is every direction away from the center. Okay? That's south. Every direction away from the center is south. And that's how compasses work. And now, if I try to circumnavigate heading south, which is away from the center, you don't pop up on the other side. You just go away. And look, the compass never turns. Lines of longitude are straight lines, north and south. East and west are circles. Now, if I try to go north, I can go north, north, north. And as soon as I pass the North Pole, I'm now heading south. You see the compass did a 180. Yeah. Now I'm heading south. All straight lines go south.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's see if we can grab these last three callers on here because we do have three left. So area code 410. Please state your name and ask your question. 410. Can you hear us? Okay, I'm going to put you on hold, and then I'm going to go to the next one. Area code 918. Area code 918.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. This is David from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Hi, David. Thanks for calling. What's your question?
All right, I have a few. When you're talking about compasses, because that just came up, why in the Bermuda Triangle would a compass go cattywampus and spin and not point really anywhere? That would be
You know,
one.
I never
And
heard
then-
about that, but the Bermuda Triangle is right off of Cape Canaveral, and that's where all NASA's rockets go and crash. Right, it's restricted water space, so who knows what they're doing out there? Maybe they're sending all sorts of stuff out there to make it so it's impossible to navigate. They don't want boats out there because that's where all the rockets crash.
Or the inflatable
Well, that makes sense.
space shuttle deflates and they pick it
You
up
know
with
it.
the boat. Just saying. Great.
Did you have another question
Then
as
you
well?
have, back when Admiral Byrd was up at the North Pole and he was flying, you were talking about the other lands of that escaped tyranny and all. Is that what actually, like, was it Hitler? Was it Eisenhower? I can't remember what president were up at the North Pole trying to find these other lands. And
You
the
know,
other question is, I'm also 62 years old. I was brought up with round world, but then I was taught that ships were afraid because the Earth was flat that they were going to fall off the edge. And is gravity and centrifugal force the same thing if it was a, say, round world rather than a flat world?
So they say that science tells us because the Earth is spinning, the centrifugal force is actually pushing things away, and that's why the water bulges 14 miles high at the equator. That's what science tells us. First, why isn't Central Africa underwater? And two, at what point when you're cruising at 5 miles high do you have to climb another 10 miles just to skim over that hump when you're heading south over the equator? And the answer is never, because there is no hump. The Maldive Islands are flat, right? They're only like a foot over the water surface, right? There's no tide at the equator. It was very, very little tide out there. The biggest tides are in the north, in the inner north. Why is that, right? The whole moon thing. If the moon's gravity caused high tides, caused the problem with the tides, how come a new moon doesn't cause the same tide as a full moon? The moon's still there. It's just not reflecting sunlight. And that's because it has to do with the energy from the moon. When the moon is powered up and it's full, it has a stronger wake to it. And that's why the salt water has tides, because the salt water carries the current of the Earth battery system. The moon is the anode, the sun is the cathode, the salt water carries the current, and the land is the salt bridge. This Earth is a giant battery. It's a free energy system.
Totally on board with that. Thank you, caller, for calling in. Sorry I dropped you because we got two more and I got just literally 120 seconds. So this one is an unknown number, so I have no area code for you. It's a block number, but you are live with us. What's your question?
Oh, it's Carol from Costa Rica.
My favorite person.
hello.
Girl, we have literally 2 minutes and then they may drop you. I don't know. So
I would, go ahead and drop me, but I would just really
90
I know
seconds.
Jason has so much information to back up David, and I would love to hear from Jason, and because it's been his dream call, and I've heard about it for like probably a year, and I'd really like to hear something that Jason wants to add in that we haven't heard yet.
Yeah,
we're
going to keep going. We're going to go.
Information, so I'm not going to ask.
We're going to go
so
past
if you
our
can
2
keep
hours.
going with that,
So.
Love you all.
60
but I think
seconds.
I'm a flat earther, so.
Oh, thank you, Carol. We love you too.
Blessings.
All right, and Blog Talk
Okay.
is giving me my warning.
Yeah.
So we're gonna let the rest of the callers go, and actually, I'm just gonna end Blog Talk. Thanks for joining. It's been fantastic.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.
Okay,
Goodbye.
gentlemen. Blog Talk is done, and we have as much time as you want. It's been 2 hours since I've been able to get out of my chair. So you guys have fun. I'll be back in a few moments. Play nice.
You guys run it.
Play nice.
Oh, now I'm hanging out with a flat earther. Yo, Jason.
Hey, no,
It's a good one.
whoa,
No,
whoa,
this is good
yeah.
information. Like Jason has a lot of things that I know that the people that are watching need to hear and want to hear, and that's still very important. And David, I can't tell you how
Kelly,
much I appreciate
how
you
crazy
staying on
is
with
it
us.
that we had only flat earthers call in?
Yeah.
It's because flat earth is going viral. People are waking up to flat earth. People are speaking out.
Well,
no ballers because they have no proof. There's no
Yeah,
proof of the ball.
My philosophy is that, the same thing like with the quote unquote conspiracy theories, in regards to what's happening with the kids and everything else. There used to be a minority that understood that as not being a fact. And now it's flipped around the world to where the majority is understanding that fact. And I think that that's the same philosophy with, with the flat earth philosophy that, we were lied to about everything. And that includes the planet that we're living on, and we have to take that into perspective, but to analyze it and to ask those questions is important because for someone that is new to the understanding, just jumping full board into it is very difficult to wrap your mind around. It took quite a few different things for me to really wrap my mind around it, and there were certain things that also were personally affected with me that, because there was also an emotional connection as well, helped my mind, come to that philosophy as well. And that's what I really wanted for everybody that's listening is, this wasn't just talking about just flat earth. Dave had some questions too, because he is still under, a mindset of what understanding.
I'm under the spell. Yeah, I'm still, taking that blue pill. And by the way, I got to jump in there. The people that are texting on Facebook, try to stick to the subject. There's people out there that are just Trump bashing and saying all kinds of stuff. We're not even talking about Trump or politics right now.
Dave, we don't even give them our energy. That's the whole thing. We don't.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying
that
they make themselves look stupid.
That's fine. Then they can go ahead and do that. But right now we're talking about, making sure that the people are getting the information so that they can have a full understanding, because it is a hard concept growing up and understanding one thing your entire life. And then you kind of have some things that come along that give you a different kind of mindset and a philosophy behind it. And that's what we wanted to bring here was sincerely like someone that we feel is an expert on this that can really give some good firsthand knowledge. Now, I wanted to take this as a learning experience also for myself, and that's what I want for other people as well. And that's what we're trying to bring. So I will of course be going back and watching this once or twice again, because I'm sure there's little things that I will pick up that I didn't the first time. So David, first of all, I want to greatly thank you for not only being willing to stay extra long past the time frame that we were able to have you for, but bringing the information to the table that you have, because it is very important and I do appreciate it. So you gentlemen enjoy, play nice, and I'll be right back. Okay.
I think this is the most important information right now because, Dave, if we ever get our freedoms back, the question is, how long are we going to be able to hold on to them, not knowing who we are, where we are, what this place is, or how it works, right? If we're lost in space, spinning out of control, thinking that an asteroid could take us out at any moment, how can we ever gain our true power, right? We are creations at the center of creation, and we have power that they don't want us to know that we have. They don't want us to know that our thoughts actually create our reality, right?
I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
This is what I believe, Dave, that we get our passion from our soul. Like when you're soulless, you really have no passion, right? I believe that the people that are running this world have sold their souls, and they no longer have the ability to create. So they're controlling our minds, having us create the world that they want. And they control us with the nonsense on the news. They control us with all of this insanity. And they have us living in fear. A little kid goes to school. They're shown a globe in the front of the classroom. Their first worksheet is how the sun, the moon goes around the earth and the earth goes around the sun. This is what they're teaching the kids. Then they teach them about dinosaurs being taken out by asteroids. What does that do to a kid's psyche? Now they're afraid, like, oh my God, that could happen to us. So they literally traumatize little kids. They convince them they live on a ball, and that's the foundation of their world. That's where they start. That is child abuse. Now it's even worse with all the other nonsense going on. But if we ever somehow gain back control for a little bit, how long can we keep it? Because there are people here that are pulling our...
But we are live again. We had like 700 people on. So that really stinks. That it's gone. Off. So
yeah, YouTube has died.
Dave,
And
it restarted a new stream is what happened.
Odd.
Yeah, so it's live again.
So it's live
Hang on
the
just a
second
second.
time, right?
Yeah. So we're really
Okay.
sorry, everybody. We don't know what happened, but for some reason, everything dropped us, and I don't know how far back it went.
I would guess it went back to Blog Talk.
Yeah, I think so. People are on Facebook. They're saying, yes, we're here.
Okay, yeah, and YouTube's back. Sorry, everybody. We didn't mean to drop that. We don't know what happened. We've gained about 100 back on YouTube. So, okay, we're back. Maybe Jason's, I hate to say this, but maybe start over where you were. I'm very sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
That was the best part of the show. Everybody missed it.
Oh my God!
I'm so sorry. So Kenya,
I forgot.
I'm sorry. I don't know where it ended, but
all right.
yeah,
So
just Jason, do your thing. I'm
that's right.
sorry about that.
That's right. So do this now. Remember when I discussed there's that site called Scribd, SCRIBD. There's an app for it. Now a lot of people, it's $10 a month. Okay. Now what they do on there is they give you documents that you would normally not find anywhere else. There are tons of documents in there. Tons. Now, now hold on. Before I even start, now, are we starting a new one? So
Yeah.
should I get out of this one and then go to the new one?
Yeah.
The questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, no problem. Hold on one second. We will go ahead and do this. No problem. Okay, so now, all right. Oh. God, that guy's an asshole.
I know. I can't figure out how to
No,
block him.
I'm just kidding. I heard myself talking.
Oh.
That's all.
Easy, guys. Come on now.
I was calling myself an asshole. I heard myself talking. That's all. I can call myself that. What happens when you're correct? So, when there's it's called Scribd, SCRIBD. Okay. Please, it's $10 a month, but that's where we get a majority of our documents from. Because what you'll do is you'll start chasing that rabbit down the hole, right? Now, you start out with these operations. You start out just with, the Admiral Byrd, the missing diary of Admiral Richard E. Byrd. It's actually on there as well. And when you realize what Admiral Byrd, why this came out after his death, because it would have been treason if he would have revealed what is in his diary before that. Now, he went to the North Pole and he was actually sucked into the North Pole. He was the pilot and he had another his co-pilot with him. They got sucked into it. Now they saw a woolly mammoth down there as well, alive, running around, and they were just flabbergasted. I mean, they just could not believe it. So, what they encountered were beings. Well, they were Nordics, and they spoke with a German accent. So what they did is that they brought him in to meet the ruler of that area, and what he had to tell Admiral Byrd was that we were going to pretty much destroy ourselves due to the atomic weapons, and I wouldn't say nuclear weapons. I'll just say atomic, because nuclear, you go along the same deal as it being fake. Now, with the atomic weapons, because this was all after World War II, after the two bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Now, those two were not supposed to be dropped. There was supposed to be one bomb over one empty military installation. That's it. That was supposed to end the war. Done. The Satanic Zionist Masonic side said, no, we need two dropped, because the two columns of smoke, it's a Satanic Masonic Zionist symbol for the two columns for the third temple, from which they were going to crown their king of the world. Now, they had to do everything twice. The second time they did it was on 9/11. That's why you had the two buildings come down, the two columns of smoke. Two columns of smoke. It represented, the two columns in the third temple. Remember, they're trying to build this third temple over in Israel. Now, this is how big this is. This is why this whole flat Earth, ball Earth, whatever. That's why it's so. It's not like, well, what does it matter? There's a lot that matters. Okay, because our Creator created this whole realm for us, this plane. Now, to say that it wasn't created by our Creator, that it was all evolution and Big Bang, and we were fish and we were like amphibians and we had tails and they fell off. It's like that makes absolutely not a bit of sense, because they don't want us to know the truth. They don't want us to know the truth that we were actually created by Anunnaki and reptilians as well. We are an offshoot of extraterrestrials ourselves, because what our Creator gave us was our spirit, our soul, and our ether. Everything else, that's what they created. That's why when they could talk about the whole creation, the Babylonian epic of creation, and the Enuma Elish, Enuma Elish, that is our true beginnings. That's a 5/5 EE. Now, with this saying that it's a ball Earth, it cannot be. It's beyond impossible. We are living in planes. We have a physical plane, we have an astral plane, we have a causal plane, we have a mental plane, and we have a spiritual plane. Everything's planes. Everything's flat. Everything's it's all layered. That's all it is. We're in a simulation. Now, we're not in some spinning ball, out in outer space, because the numbers that they came up with, that's why the whole Freemasonic, the entire Freemasonic society, that's why they came up with the whole 666 and, the speed and the axis, the tilt of the axis and everything. It's all lies. It's all to worship their God, which is Satan. Then they were trying to get us away from knowing our real Creator, because if we did know how we were truly created and that we do have all this power, well, what would that do? That would make all of us start thinking, well, if we have all this power, then why can't we get it back?
Exactly, Jason. There's a verse in the Bible that basically says, if once you see my creation, the earth, then you no longer have the ability to deny my existence. You no longer have any excuse. And they can't have that. They hate God. They hate the Creator.
Yes. Yeah. And that's why that's why everything's so hateful and evil right now. I mean,
you get that right. It's just so much negativity in the world right now. And no matter what you talk about, no matter what the subject is, no matter where you stand, it's just like the pendulum has swung way over to the dark side, but it is swinging back over to the right. I mean, to the light, I should say.
Dave,
anyway,
exactly right. I know you have to go. I just want to say one more thought for you. And they don't want us connected, because if we all come together and start thinking, they have to do a great reset. So they've divided us by countries, by religions, by races, by sex, they're dividing the sexes now. They're separating us by distance, covering our faces. This is all to dehumanize us and take our power away.
Agreed. Right? They want a great reset, but what they're facing is a great awakening, and that's not what they want. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, this has been interesting. I think that we could probably go on for quite some time. I'm not convinced.
Dave,
go ahead, Kelly.
Be convinced.
Well,
Kelly?
Dave, if you want to, if you need to go, that's totally fine. I think the guys would like to keep going just for a little bit more to dig a little more information.
Okay, like
I
said, I had somebody pounding on my door. I had a little crisis in the neighborhood here. I wanted to go take care of that. So.
That's okay. I greatly appreciate you being here today. You know that, and I'll be talking to you soon. So.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, David, nice chatting with you.
Thanks.
Didn't convince me yet, but you gave me something to think about.
Okay.
So,
And that's the important part, getting the wheels spinning. So absolutely.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you much. We'll talk to you soon.
Dave,
Thanks,
if you
Dave.
can, if you can just leave on your end, so I don't have to kick you out, because we all know. There we go. Okay, guys, still going.
Hi.
Yay, flat Earth party now.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So
It's all about an open mindset, though. It's all
Okay,
about
so-
expanding the mind.
there's a book called The Earth is Flat, Be Afraid, Be Very Afraid. It's by Casper Stiff. Now, I don't know if you have this, David, but I stumbled upon it on that whole site, and it says they're lying. The Earth is really flat. Now, they talk about the water's nature level and everything, and we've been lied to by NASA, of course, because we have all the documentation for that, and of course, when it comes down to it, the sun is not a sun. It's a solar simulator. We have the patents for it. It's constructed by Northrop Grumman, and that's why the sun and the moon are the same size. Now, saying that the sun is like 3 billion miles away, well, how did they come up with that calculation? And why is it that the Hubble telescope cannot do a 180 and shoot a picture of Earth back to us?
Because it's too close, Jason.
Way too close. way too close.
I like that.
How come the Hubble telescope, what's it made out of to withstand the high temperatures of the thermosphere or wherever it is? It's like 3,000 degrees, supposedly.
Well, and also, I mean, when they put space, it's always black. Well, if space is always dark and you got this big ball of like flames and just utter terror, I mean, wouldn't that mean that, space would be like kind of a brownish maize color? I mean, that's just,
Think about this. The thing that gets me, and I don't bring it up a lot on shows, is because people just really can't wrap their minds around it. So that how we're twirling, whirling, swirling, and corkscrewing through the universe. But somehow all of these satellites are following us on all those different curved spiraling trajectories. Now, a geostationary satellite spins with the Earth. It stays over the same piece of land. So let's pretend this satellite right here needs to stay right over this piece of land here. So we're spinning the ball. So it's got to make a bigger circle around the ball. It also has to follow the ball as it corkscrews around the sun. Okay. How does that satellite stay right there with all of these crazy motions of the Earth? Right? We're doing this, right? The Earth is out here spinning, twirling, whirling. How are those satellites following us on all of these curved trajectories? It's nonsense.
Look at people that have satellite television. It's like your satellite never moves, right? They tell you how to set it up and everything like that.
Geostationary satellite.
There you go. And also, well, what about all these underwater cables? I mean, they have all these underwater cables that were running actually through the Suez Canal, and all of them coming from Europe. They were coming right through there. That's how they're going to kill the internet. They actually sent a dredge ship out there, and they're going to dredge that whole cable. They're just going to cut it, just cut it all to pieces. They do away with the internet because it's a joke. It's a huge joke.
And if you look at the cables, there's not one from Santiago to Australia, which on a globe would be a lot closer, because if they hired a company, they're like, okay, we need, it's 8,000 miles, whatever, and they get 8,000 miles of cable. Well, then they'd probably get out to about here and they go, there's nothing but ocean in front of us and we ran out of cable.
Keep going.
So, yeah. So the cables that go from here, it goes all the way up, across and then back down again. Why don't they just cut one right across around Antarctica?
Gravity.
Oh, I thought it was refraction.
Here's gravity. Okay. You have a body of mass, right? Which is the ground, which is the Earth, right? Now you have a body mass that is falling. Actually, if it's falling through the air and there's no resistance, right? So what's going to stop it? A body that has equal or greater volume or mass. Boom. That's it. I mean, there's your gravity. And I mean, you're not going to go through the earth.
Right. I always say if you had a handful of ping pong balls and marbles and you held them in the air over a pool and you dropped them, they'd both fall through the air because they're more dense. The ping pong balls would sit on top of the water and the marbles would go to the bottom because the density of the ping pong balls is less than the water and the marbles is more than the water. So buoyancy and density sort everything else out. So the question is, why do things go down and not sideways or up? What's making them go down? Because I got a handful of ping pong balls and marbles. Now, poof, the earth disappears and I let them go. Which direction are they going to go? There's no earth. Everything is gone except the marbles and the ping pong balls. Which direction do they go? The ping pong balls are still less dense than the marbles. Which way is down? So that's one of the big arguments, one of the big discussions, like, is there a downward force? Well, if the earth disappeared, which way is down? Well, the earth is the way down. The earth is immovable. It does not move. I showed you before the earth battery system. The earth has a measurable negative charge to it. Well, that negative charge attracts things. As you lift up away from the earth, you get there's voltage in the air. Okay. And it gets, 100 volts at a meter, I think, 200 volts at 2 meter, 300 volts and up. So the earth says, hey, that negative charge, which is measurable, says down is this way. And we can do experiments that will show you that. But down is this way. And then the buoyancy and density sort everything else out. So how can we test this? So one of the things is, you ever see those triangles that made of tinfoil and then they put electric charge in it, negative charge in it, and it goes up? It all of a sudden leaves the earth because its negative charge is stronger than the earth's negative charge. What do you think about that?
I find that quite interesting. I also find it quite interesting that the earth is struck by lightning about 8 million times a day on average. And
do you have any receipts for that?
I don't have any receipts for that, but the understanding of negative and positive ions.
Right. Well, I'm not, but by the way, I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I just don't know that it happens.
I don't either. I mean, I don't know how you could count that.
So the earth has a negative charge. The dome has a positive charge.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's a channel called LC King, guy in Australia. He understands this electricity thing better than anyone I've ever seen. His videos, I keep telling him to dumb them down, dumb them down, dumb them down. Right. So his dumb down videos, I can just grasp. But they're amazing. And he's the one that made me that graphic, by the way, for the Earth battery. And if anyone's really interested in learning about that, just start watching his channel, LC King.
LC King. Thank you.
LC King. So we didn't even get into NASA. I figured that was a whole nother rabbit hole for Dave. Maybe we do another show with it. Is he a NASA believer?
Well,
he's got to be.
So Bob from the Globebusters show, Globebusters is now having a show on Wednesday nights, which is tomorrow night, and LC King is going to be on it. I invite everybody, look at Globebusters in the chat, subscribe to that channel. It's going to be a new Globebusters is usually Sundays, but they're now also doing a Wednesday show, and LC King is going to be on it.
Is that a YouTube channel, by the way?
It's on YouTube channel, yeah. Globebusters, one word.
Globebusters.
Everyone go subscribe to that, ring the bell, and it's a great, Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern, few hours. I always have it on, listening. I actually watch the whole thing, but it's good. It's a great show.
And you said LC King?
LC, the capital
LC
L,
King.
capital C, capital K-I-N-G.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I got that right before I hit go in the chat.
No spaces.
Okay, got it.
Now is that 3 p.m.? Is that Eastern?
3 p.m. Eastern on Sundays, and then Bob, when is the Wednesday show? What time? I'll put it in the chat.
Damn it.
Yeah. And also Globebusters Globebusters just switched to Rockfin. Have you guys heard of Rockfin? Rockfin's a new platform, zero censorship, but you have to subscribe. So it's ROKFIN. youtube.com/Globebusters. And you subscribe to Globebusters, you get everything that's on Rockfin. There's amazing channels there. It's how YouTube used to be in the olden days. You go, anything. You want to talk about the event that happened in Connecticut and New York? Go into detail. Doesn't matter. Everything is on there. Amazing, right? Best $10 you could spend.
I'm in.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
information.
It's rockfin.com.
ROKFIN.
And sign up under Globebusters because that helps them produce more content. But you get access to everything that's on the show, everything that's on the network. And it's literally just taking off, and it's amazing.
So you said ROKFIN?
I believe so.
Okay. I was just putting that in there too.
ROKFIN. ROKFIN.
Okay.
.com.
/Globebusters. Got it.
/Globebusters. Is it backslash or forward slash?
I don't
Now
know.
I'm dyslexic.
I don't know.
Regular /Globebusters.
Just not a hyphen.
Just subscribe there. Try it out for 1 month. I'm telling you, it's amazing. And the stuff now, I find myself watching that all the time because I'm like, wow, I want to kind of get on there and do some stuff because I'm always watching what I'm saying now. Like you guys don't worry for some reason, but I guarantee, give me 5 minutes, I'll get you a strike.
Well, we've already had one, and they also, while we had that one, we had 2 others taken down at the same time, and they didn't.
30 seconds, I'll get you a strike. I can do it in 30 seconds. I can do it in 15 seconds. I can get you a strike.
I don't know, man. I mean, I've been fighting off the Holocaust.
They don't seem to shut us down for some reason. We can't figure out why. But
I forgot to tell Dave not to let cartoons control his mind. Right?
Oh boy, yeah.
Listen, Dave's great. He'll come around.
I do
We
have
were
a
all
question
there.
though on one thing, just kind of trying to understand, if we are on the flat plane and if there is, oops, I hit my microphone, outside the Arctic ice shelf, other continents, what is the underneath look like? Do you have like a perspective at all? Like I have a kind of an idea of visuals that I've seen with like the shoals and, everything from like a biblical aspect of what is referenced in other maps and different pictures and stuff that I've seen, but I'm just curious on your perspective on that.
So we've seen, all of these different representations of flat Earth from all previous religions and civilizations, except the cult of NASA is the only one that came up with the ball.
Right.
But the deepest hole ever dug on Earth is just 7.5, just short of 8 miles. Right. It's in Russia. Right. For an analogy, that's like drilling halfway through the skin of an apple. Okay. And when they dug this hole, they were using ground penetrating radar and they were wrong every step of the way. They're like, oh, no more water. They hit more water. Oh, no more rocks. They hit more rocks. Right. Somehow they hit an impenetrable barrier at 7.5 miles. They couldn't get through it. But then they know what the next 4,000 miles is. They know what the next 4,000 miles is when they got the skin wrong.
Right.
Right. And then molten magnetic core, right? That's a misnomer. That's like military intelligence. Okay. Right. You can't have a molten magnet. A magnet hits its Curie point when it gets hot before it melts and it loses all its magnetism. There's no such thing as a molten magnet.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what is your perspective on what you think under the surface?
So there's a dome above us. I believe there's a physical dome that they were trying to, blow a hole through with Project Fishbowl, where they're trying to blow a hole in it. And we hit something impenetrable below us. Maybe there's another dome. Maybe there's another realm below us. Maybe it's a more dense realm. Maybe it's hell. Maybe that's heaven above. I don't know, but we're in between these realms. I believe we're in this
abyss.
Jason said a simulation. Maybe the heavens above are etheric, right? And they're right there, right above us, right where the clouds are. Okay. I mean, what are clouds? They're not. Yeah, they're moisture. Think about this. You know how much information you can put in a drop of water? It's like terabytes. Water holds so much information, right? So where water is the most precious substance on Earth, right? So water holds information. Well, we're having these physical bodies, but we're 97% water or something, or 90% water, whatever it is, right? Well, what if heaven, non-physical, there's just the water, like the clouds. Maybe the clouds are where the intelligence is, in the waters above. Maybe it's a non-physical heaven right above us, and maybe below us is a much more denser realm. Did you guys ever hear? You guys know about the Great Borehole? There was a recording. Again, I don't have any proof of it being real, but they did a recording when they were down there, and it literally sounded like screaming bodies, and like it sounded like hell. It was like I heard it years ago, and I still get chills when I just think about what I heard. It's like the craziest thing. Like, what is it? I don't know. Did somebody make it up? They did a great job, faking it if they did, but it was, not that you couldn't fake something like that.
Well, and there's also those tunnels down, I believe it was in Brazil, if I remember correctly, like a tunnel where they walked for 2 weeks and then
there's
into this
tunnels
area,
all across this world.
We know there's massive tunnels. I mean, we know about the dumb tunnels, but I'm referencing other kinds of tunnels for.
I just heard someone ask the question the other day. You know how we know about all of these dumb tunnels that are connecting cities all across the country? Maybe they were already here. Maybe they were here from the last realm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, have you guys looked into Tartaria at all?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So you guys know who John Levy is? The YouTube channel, write this down. John, Jon Levy, Levi. He does these 20-minute videos. He talks really slow. It's amazing. You can speed him up to like 1.5. Amazing. Our world is nothing. Even us awake people have no idea what this world was not that long ago.
Right.
Okay.
1700s.
You guys saw my Ruth interview, right? Ruth, the 102-year-old woman I interviewed.
No, you told me not to watch anything, remember?
Oh, I did.
You wanted me to be surprised, so I said, okay.
Yeah, so I interviewed this woman, 102 years old, named Ruth, about the World's Fairs because she had gone to the New York World's Fairs, and she had such an amazing memory. And she was telling me about her 5th birthday party, and I asked her, where did you go to school? She knew the school, the teacher, the name, the road, the kids in the class. I'm like, wow, I could barely do that. And I said, what did they teach you in science about the Earth? I never mentioned flat Earth. She looks at me, she goes, they taught me the Earth was flat, right? And then years later, they taught her that it wasn't flat. And she just, that's what they're teaching. And then we found newspaper articles in the New York Journal and other newspapers on microfilm of teachers being persecuted in the 1920s and 30s for trying to teach heliocentrism.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
that doesn't fit with the timeline that we were taught. Right? It's an amazing video. It's on my channel. Just Google DITRH Ruth, 102 years old. It'll come up. It's on like 100. It's on hundreds of channels. You know what's funny, Jason? This is very conspiratorial, but I actually believe this. Okay, I interviewed Ruth, and I realized, wow, people that are centenarians over 100 years old, they have information back from the old world. We need to start interviewing. So I started going. This video went viral. It went on I was on hundreds of other channels. It's everywhere. And I started saying, hey, everybody, go to old age homes. If you have someone in an old age home, that go there, find the most lucid older person, right? And let's interview them. Let's ask them questions. And everyone started lining this up. They were all about to do it. Bam. Next day, COVID. All nursing homes are closed.
Yes.
Nobody to this day can get into a nursing home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We literally only have less than 5 years, maybe 2 years, because all these people, probably with the V schedule that's going on, I don't think we have any time left. I think they're all gone.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because it wasn't until like the early 1900s that they started changing the education in regards to this philosophy. We know that.
Yeah. The nonsensical system, the helio sinister trick in the soul lure system. They're literally trying to steal our souls away with the soul lure system. Because if you don't acknowledge who you are, where you are, what you are, you lose the power of your soul, right? And our souls are protected with layers, just like the earth. We have layers. We have layers: love, hope, ambition, all of these wonderful things that make us human. And they're trying to, with fear, drill down through, get rid of all of those, put us into, make us desperate and basically expose our souls. So we give up our souls, make a deal with the devil, whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you like to know a couple of little key facts? Well, of course, Copernicus, he never owned a telescope. Never owned a telescope. But yet he came up with the whole heliocentric model. Now, who put it into effect that this is what it is? It was the Vatican. It was nothing scientific. It was the
priest.
That now we look at the Vatican. I mean, they even have a telescope named Lucifer. I mean,
it's just a coincidence that that's what all the words.
Oh, yeah, that's all. That's all. And then people speaking about the Bible and everything. Well, see, there's just one little problem with that. It's this one. That's the one you need to start reading.
All right.
But this is, it's. I'll read exactly what the title says. Now it says, OAHSP, can't pronounce it. The words of Jehovah and his angel ambassadors, a sacred history of the dominions of the higher and lower heavens on the earth for the past 24,000 years. Being from submersion of the continent of Pan in the Pacific Ocean, commonly called the flood or deluge, to the Cosmon era. Also a brief history of the preceding 55,000 years, together with a synopsis of the cosmogony of the universe, the creation of planets, the creation of man, the unseen worlds, the labor and glory of gods and goddesses in the ethereal heavens, with the new commandments of Jehovah to man in the present day, with revelations from the second resurrection formed in words in the 33rd year of the Cosmon era. Yeah. So which one, either Holy Bible or this? I mean, this literally, it's $30 on Amazon. That's it. I mean, it's big. And you partnered up with the Urantia book. That's also, I mean, the truth is out there.
A couple people have asked before with the Urantia book, like which edition exactly, because there's a couple of them that are available. Can you be specific, please?
I've got
the Urantia book.
Yes.
I have a copy.
Yes.
Urantia
It's
book, like which edition?
It's big.
It's crazy.
It's.
You know, they everything is out there. They tell
Yeah.
us everything. People are just too fluoridated, vaccinated, and struggling paycheck to paycheck to take the time to look at any of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know that, and it's all by design. It's all by design. They have us,
exhausted.
Scared, exhausted, selfish because we're afraid. So everyone's taking care of themselves. If everyone would just obey natural law. Help your neighbor. Don't steal. Don't murder. Don't break anyone's free will. End of story. And the other thing is ignore the elite. Ignore anything they say.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If everyone did that, we wouldn't even know they exist.
That goes along with the breads and circuses and sports and their division as well. It's funny that they have LeBron James out there talking about run his mouth, but there's that specific picture that we have of Chris Bosh's daughter grabbing LeBron James's that. Anybody have any problem with that? I mean, she was only like 3 or 4. We have the picture. It's but they cropped it out. But in the real picture, they show her hand. Yeah. It's grabbing onto something. It's like, you know what? Yeah. They all need to just be executed. That's it. There's not a hell hot enough for these people.
Well, is there any final points that you gentlemen would like to add to this? And then maybe we should try and wrap it up. We're going on about 2
I would
hours
like
and
to
40 minutes.
bring up one more point about the distance of the sun. Did we do that? I've done so many interviews. I can't remember who I'm talking to. So here's the scale of our solar system, right? And here's the Earth, this tiny little dot, right? Well, from here to here is probably 25 million miles. Okay, well, whatever it is, because I think Mars is 25 million miles away. So if I brought the sun, this is for you, Kelly, a mile from the Earth, just for scale.
Okay.
What would you see in the sky? Just the sun, horizon to horizon, right?
Yeah.
It would just be gigantic. It would just fill the entire sky, right? Say yes. Say yes.
Yeah.
It would fill the entire sky,
And
Dave.
Yes,
What's
it
your
would
point?
fill the entire sky, and I would burn.
Well, no. So this is just for scaling. Okay.
all
You
right.
have a spacesuit on. It protects you from
Okay.
the sun.
That's cool.
Okay. So now we move the sun 93 million miles away. It's where they say it is. So that's like taking the sun. It's right here in front of the Earth.
Yeah.
And I move it away, and it gets smaller. Now, why is it getting smaller?
It's a distance.
It's going away. So perspective makes it smaller,
Right.
right? And by the time we get the sun 93 million miles away, it's the size of a nickel held at arm's length, or a quarter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it went from the entire sky to the size of a coin held at arm's length. So if I doubled the distance, could you see it?
Shouldn't be able to.
Right. How about, let's just to be sure, 8 times the distance. Could you see it?
Okay, no.
Okay. Scientifically, provably, its angular size would be too small to see. Well, 8 times the distance is a light hour. The distance light travels in an hour.
Okay.
Okay. So they tell us the closest star is 4.5 light years away.
So that star would have to be like 4 to 8 times the size of the
Oh,
sun.
no.
In order for us to be able to see that star, even.
So
at that distance?
the sun at 8 times its distance is invisible. Okay. Here, I can't. I'll do the math on another one. Polaris, for example, they say Polaris is 46 times bigger than the sun, right?
Okay.
That's what they tell us. So the sun at 8 times the distance, we can't see it. So if Polaris is 46 times bigger, we'd have to make it. So we'd have to move it 46 times farther away to make it not seeable, right? So 46. So if the sun's a light hour, Polaris would have to be 2 light days away, and then we couldn't see it. According to the size that they tell us and the distance, the equivalent distance is 2 light days. Polaris is 433 light years away.
Yeah, that
How
doesn't
many
make
hours
sense.
are in 433 light years? That's how many times farther it is. None of it makes any sense. It's the biggest, most ridiculous thing ever. But people we weren't taught to think like this in school. We weren't taught how to calculate these numbers. We were taught just to let our minds go, oh, yeah, trillion.
Yeah, we weren't
Kelly,
taught to question. We were taught just to learn.
We were taught to memorize and regurgitate, right? And very little learning. Now there are some categories, people are, there's things that you can learn that are correct, but the stuff in the sky is pseudoscience. It's all pseudoscience. How long is 1 trillion seconds? You know, Kelly?
No, not off the top of my head.
Take a guess. I'll give you a Bitcoin if you guess within a week.
Okay, say this again. 1
1
trillion
trillion
seconds is what?
seconds. 1 trillion seconds.
Is what?
You tell me. I'm going to give you a Bitcoin. Don't want to take a guess?
Oh, man.
I mean, because Unix epoch was on January 1st, 1970 and 0000000. So that's what the timestamps are pertaining to now, and they're in the billions right now, I believe, in billions of seconds. So you talk.
So
trillions.
let Kelly guess. Let Kelly. You're going to figure it out. Kelly,
Damn
how
it.
long?
Damn
About
it.
how long is it 1 trillion seconds? Stop trying to calculate. Just take a guess. No.
365 days.
Very close.
Okay, see?
31,000 years.
Oh shit, I was way off. What are you talking about?
Okay, 31. Think about this. 31,000 years is 1 trillion seconds. The closest star is 25 trillion miles away.
Yeah.
Yeah, whoosh, gravy. Your brain just turns into the mush.
That's not
right?
possible.
None of this makes any sense. How when we zoom in on stars, they're all at the same focal length. Well, how is that possible? Wait, and by the way, that's the closest star, 25 trillion miles. The other ones are magnitudes farther.
So what is your philosophy
Right?
on what the stars are? Are the stars a part of the firmament?
I don't know what the stars are. When we send balloons up to 120,000 feet, all the stars disappear. Okay, what does that mean? What is going on there? And you've seen the pictures of, you know, when we zoom in on stars, this is the star Arcturus. Does that look like a burning ball?
No, it looks
50
like a
trillion
disco
miles
globe.
away.
That is
Right.
our midway station. That's our midway
Our
station, by the
midway?
way. Yes. Yes. Oh yeah. Arcturus is our midway station for to declare our karma.
Oh, okay. That's a theoretical thing. This is the star Capella. Completely different.
Still looks like a disco globe.
Amazing though. Come on, this is amazing. This is the star Sirius. Slowed down a little bit. Kind of looks like it's underwater to me.
Here we go.
Now some flat earthers have big issues with this. Some of them are out of focus a little bit. Some of them are, you know, it's hard to focus on something that's not physical, right? The Arcturus one, it kind of looks pretty in focus to me. Here's a whole bunch. These things look like they're underwater. And sometimes having something a little out of focus shows you things that you wouldn't see otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all different. They're all different. They all have their own personalities. Maybe stars are souls. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's truly. Honestly, the last comment from Carol is it's really amazing, and sincerely, I completely agree.
And by the way, anything I've been talking about that's over our heads or beyond the shoreline of Antarctica, we're just guessing.
Mm-hmm.
We're guessing. We can do some experiments to kind of like, oh, that you know, have you ever heard of star in a jar, where they take a jar of water and they put sound beams, they focus sound energy or radio waves into it, and these little stars appear in the water, like little suns in the water. Amazing.
Yeah. Very interesting. Oh, well, gentlemen, this has been such an excursion. To be honest, I can't thank you enough, Dave Weiss, for coming on and being not only willing to go exceedingly excessive past the time frame that we had originally scheduled. I sincerely appreciate that, and you know, the candor throughout the entire process, because this is a difficult thing for, you know, for some to wrap their minds around, and you know, time will tell, and the truth will always come forth, because that's just what is going to be happening. So there's no way to get around that. And you know, I really appreciate it.
Here's my final pitch. My final pitch is,
Okay.
you know, I had my own company. I was doing very well. I walked away from it all to spread this message because, as you guys know, people need to wake the F up, or we're screwed.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to go into some serious dark times if people don't wake up now, right? I'm doing this because this message, once you wake up to that we're not on a spinning globe, everything changes. It changes everything. When people say, what does it matter? I still have to go to work. Well, guess what? I don't have to go to work anymore, right? Everything changes, right? Everything changes. And the best way to learn about flat Earth and to support me at the same time is to buy my app. It's $2.99. If you ever bought a Starbucks coffee, it costs more than that, and you pee it away in 20 minutes and you're gone forever. This you have forever.
Is it
right?
$2.99
Just go read the reviews.
one-time purchase?
Read the reviews. What's that?
Is it just $2.99 for a one-time purchase, or is that like a
$2.99. So check this out. People love the app so much. They said, Dave, can you put a donation button on the app? Thank you, Jason. Can you put a donation button on the app? And Apple and Google don't allow you to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I put a subscription button on the app, and basically you get a one pop-up. It says, would you like to subscribe for 99 cents a month? And you can hit the X and it goes away. No ads, no wait time. It goes away. It only shows up once a day. You do not need to subscribe.
Okay.
But what happens is people wake up every day. They go, oh, what's the daily video? And every day they watch it and they're like, you know what? This really makes my day. I want to support Dave. And they subscribe. Okay.
So you put
but
a
you
new
don't have
video
to
up every
you
day
still
too?
Get everything. What's that, Kelly?
You put a new video on every single day too?
Every single day. This thing, I am a slave now to this app.
I
Okay?
understand, not necessarily the app, but this whole situation. I totally get it.
Suck.
And I try to, I try to just put up things that are going on in the minds of people at the time, new information, new videos, sometimes old videos that people don't know about. And so in the app, if you hit the daily video, great. And then, here's the other thing. If you say, hey, Dave, send me a thing on the fake moon landing, right? I send you a video. Well, YouTube is going to feed you a propaganda video right after that. But in the app, if you go to the fake moon landing section, then every video after that is from the app.
Nice.
Okay. It bypasses YouTube's algorithm completely. So they've resorted to the turd and punch bowl method, which basically they put so many crap videos that say flat Earth out there that you'll just give up searching flat Earth, right? And they'll feed you all of them. One of the greatest videos, for a person that's in just learning about it, it's called A Stranger's Guide to Flat Earth, 21 Questions by ODD Reality. You can search that entire name and it doesn't show up in the first couple pages. You just get all propaganda videos.
Right.
So that tells you something. And then anytime you see a good flat Earth video, the way you know is there's a Wikipedia thing underneath it saying flat Earth is an ancient, stupid belief. Right. So they're trying to hide it from you.
Yeah.
The app will save you all the time in the world. And it's waking up a lot of people.
Well, and I will make sure and put that picture that you have shared there on with all of these where I'm going to be posting it. I'll make sure that it's in the comments or it's its own separate thing so that everybody can find it easily for you as well. Absolutely. There's
also a link that you'll get in an email. You probably already got it with a link to it.
I do believe I do. Absolutely. I think I remember seeing it in the email when we were doing the other stuff. So whoops. This darn thing. I set this thing up just for this show, you guys, so I'm sitting here hitting it all the time, but I can't thank you guys enough. This is something that we really wanted to do and really have a lot of, information on, and I never imagined, that in 3 hours we'd be able to cover anything to begin with, but, we tried, and I know that we definitely hit a lot of the high points and a lot of important different things, and we got some good questions answered by not just Dave but also the participants, and we greatly appreciate everybody that participated in this. And do make sure and share this, and hopefully it was pretty family friendly. I think we kept the verbiage pretty good on this one, because I want to show my children this as well, so that way they can open up their perspective as well, and be able to talk to other
love
people.
The app.
Yeah,
they love the app.
They? I'm sure they would. I got they got like preteen, early teen kids, so I'm sure they're going to absolutely love this because they like a lot of the different things that I've been bringing up in perspective for them. But this is a big one. This was a big topic for me. This was one of my biggest hurdles, and it just kind of hits you one day. You can be sitting there constantly and just going, yeah, no, it's a round ball and it makes a lot more sense. And then one little thing will just be like, oh man, I was so wrong, and it's okay. It's really okay to just come to that point where you can accept it and not hold yourself in any kind of guilt for thinking one way, because you get under the understanding that we have all been lied to for a very long time, and getting to that point where we can realize that we were even lied to about this, and that's one of the hardest things to do, but it's great once you get there.
Let me show you one more quick thing on the app. If you hit that little colorful wheel, which is the photos icon, up come all sorts of useful photos when you're talking to flat Earth with people. I got some stars moving in there, got different Earths. If you want to, someone believes in the moon landing, just bring this up and say, do you believe that we went to the moon in that?
Construction paper
look at
and
that.
foil.
Yeah, it's a homeless tweaker shelter.
Hell
Right?
yeah. Woo.
Right. And then there's all sorts of stuff in here, and I keep updating these, adding more stuff. And people say, well, what about photos? Well, here's a photo. Which photo do you think Earth is? And then you can also share these videos, the pictures. Like if you open up a picture and then you just hit the little share, you can send it to whoever you want.
Oh, thank you. That's great. You've really made this very user friendly and handy.
And one thing is when you're showing people the app every single time, if they're listening about flat Earth and you pull it up and you show them the time lapse, you go, oh, they go, oh, where do I get that? So when you're showing them the pictures, the first picture brings up the QR code. Just go point your phone here and boom, then they have the app. It's the easiest way. Or you can send it to them. And Jason, I noticed on yours, you have a black background. If you hit the little settings and you scroll down, you can pick from all of these different backgrounds or put in your own background.
Oh, nice.
Oh, whoa.
See that?
Fancy.
Different backgrounds.
Yeah. Look at that. I'm learning something.
It looks like the Tennessee Smoky Mountains right there.
Right. And then if you hit the web button, the center top video is an instructional video that will show you all the features in the app if you ever really want to dig in.
Fantastic.
Right?
You really thought of everything.
Another great one was when you showed the video in the pictures of them having that little dune buggy, how they're driving around on the moon surface. It's like, so you're saying that was on that construction bed, the tweaker shelter, right? Like,
Yeah.
that get on there, and yeah, it's just
Yeah, no.
no.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us this evening. I think we're going to call it a night. I'm going to let you go with some music, and good evening. Share this, like the channel, and I have a feeling we'll be having David back on again. Well, at least that's the hope, David, if you'd like to join us again. So
I'm happy to. You guys are great.
Awesome.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for your time. Gentlemen, if you'll stay with me for just a moment while I'm closing out of here, though, I'd greatly appreciate that. But to everybody else out there, good evening and good night.
The Flat Earth Sun and Moon Clock App, a dynamic new app to teach family and friends about where they actually live. The sky is a perfect clock. The sun measures the hours and days. The moon measures the weeks and months. The star constellations measure the seasons and years. 12/12 or 24-hour clock face, or go hands-free. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock App with new added features. World Time. See what time it is all around the flat Earth. A true Earth compass that shows true navigation across and around the flat Earth plane. Weather. Tap for detailed local weather information. Know what phase and where the moon is at all times. Watch the sun travel between the tropics for the seasons. Select an amazing background. Add your own or have the app change it to a new one automatically every time you use the app. Add a countdown to your next big date. Learn the truth about our world with the featured video of the day. Web button for additional flat Earth related features, from the mythical curve calculator all the way to Tartaria. While talking to friends, easily pull up pictures that expose the globe lie and shine light on the flat Earth truth. Video playlists in different languages. See the real trade winds circling the flat Earth, and clean screen features. Simply click off the items you don't wish to see. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app is the best tool to show your friends and strangers how our flat Earth actually works.